Chapter 346. After Jiang Xiu took the money, he went to a sauna center. In this aspect, Jiang Xiu was still quite inexperienced. But even if he had never eaten pork, he would have seen a pig run. Moreover, boys never needed to be taught in this aspect. Their minds were clear. Moreover, the service staff inside was even more enthusiastic in serving them. It was a woman with heavy makeup. She really couldn't be considered beautiful, but she was definitely a woman. Her hair was tied up, revealing her beautiful collarbone. Coupled with her voluptuous figure, she was quite flirtatious. "Sir, do you want to wash your feet?" In the immortal martial continent, spiritual cultivation also supported some of the top courtesans in the immortal music square. At that time, they were quite generous, and the moment they made a move, they made the stage explode. Therefore, it couldn't be said that she was completely new. Yes, is there anything else? That gaze of his was absolutely wretched. The girl immediately understood what he meant. Most of the people who came here to play were greasy middle-aged people. Of course, there were also young people, but they were basically ugly single dogs. If it wasn't for their inhumane looks and the fact that they were single dogs, they would never come to this kind of place. They either had a girlfriend, or if their looks were passable, they would go to a nightclub to seek pleasure. No matter what, they wouldn't come to this kind of place, spending money and taking risks. People with a face as handsome as Jiang Xiu were really rare. The girls were willing to give him a discount. But when Jiang Xiu walked in, the girl sighed. Cripple, her interest was greatly reduced. "Come with me." After entering the private room, Jiang Xiu finally opened his face. The long chairs were filled with people of all types. There were tall, thin, voluptuous, cute. "Handsome, tell me which one you like?" "Your business here doesn't seem to be very good. Recently, the crackdown on prostitution has been fierce, affecting business. But the girls here are all first class. Don't worry, my place is absolutely hygienic and safe. Choose one." Jiang Xiu's eyes searched, and finally fell on a girl who looked relatively pure. He nodded and said, "I'll choose her." The girl stood up politely, pulled her skirt and said, "Thank you." Jiang Xiu thought to himself, "As long as you don't hate me." Then, the lady boss arranged a private room for Jiang Xiu to change his clothes. After about 3 or 4 minutes, the girl came over with water to wash her feet. "Sir, let's soak your feet first." Jiang Xiu nodded. Only now did he have time to really look at her. At first glance, Jiang Xiu was a little stunned. The girl's temperament was pure and refined, and there was a little heroic spirit between her eyebrows. In terms of appearance, she was not much worse than Lingsu. It was a pity that she was in this line of work. Under her service, Jiang Xiu soaked his feet in the foot washing basin. The water was a little hot. People who had washed their feet before knew that it would be a little hot at the beginning. It was said that it could promote blood circulation. "Sir, you don't look familiar. Is this your first time here?" "This is your family's first time." A pair of eyes began to look at her body with bad intentions. Logically speaking, people in this line of work had long been accustomed to this kind of gaze, but the girl's brows slightly wrinkled, and she was a little uncomfortable. The girl had quite a bit of capital, and because she had possessed Jiang Xiu's body to wash his feet, she looked quite heavy, which impacted Jiang Xiu's vision. Jiang Xiu suddenly reached out and touched it, scaring the girl so much that she cried out involuntarily. She was so angry that her eyes widened. Jiang Xiu said in surprise, "What are you doing? Why are you screaming?" However, no matter how loud she screamed inside, the outside couldn't hear it. It was soundproof, but even if they heard it, they would be used to it. The girl hurriedly lowered her head and said, "No, nothing. You scared me." Jiang Xiu liked her pure energy and laughed. This guy reached out and touched her hard again. The girl hurriedly dodged, but she was powerless to resist. It was fun. "You're so annoying. Can't you let me wash properly? How can you wash when you're so naughty? How about I give you a full body massage?" Jiang Xiu nodded. His feet had already been soaked. She wasn't a proper foot washing girl, and didn't know how to massage his feet. Soaking was enough, so he lay down on the massage bed. When the girl came up to help massage, she was suddenly pulled by him and her whole body fell into his arms. She hurriedly said, "Sir, don't be anxious." Jiang Xiu didn't care about these things. The seductive little vixen pressed her down on the spot. Jiang Xiu's hands went up and down, and the girl struggled to escape. At this moment, there was a lot of noise outside the door. A group of people in police uniforms rushed in. "Don't move." Jiang Xiu's expression changed and said, "It can't be. What a coincidence. We really ran into a prostitution crackdown." The expression of the girl, who was suddenly taken advantage of by Jiang Xiu, suddenly changed and became abnormally fierce. She jumped up and lifted her knee. Jiang Xiu's indescribable part was heavily hit. His somewhat handsome mortal face immediately twisted in pain. This blow to a man was definitely no less than giving birth to a child. It was said that a woman would feel pain when giving birth to a child, but the pain index was the highest. This was simply terrible. "Are you crazy?" Jiang Xiu's voice changed and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. This guy secretly swore in his heart that even if he didn't deify, he would deify this vital part. It was too painful, too F*** painful. Then his chest was pushed hard by the girl, and his whole body was pressed down on the bed by the girl. "Don't move. I'm Officer Lu Chunchun from the Cloud Lake branch. You're under arrest." Jiang Xiu was dumbfounded. F***ck a spy. At this time, the door was kicked open and the police in uniform rushed in. Seeing that Jiang Xiu had been subdued by the girl, they rushed up and handcuffed Jiang Xiu. "Officer Lu, are you all right?" Lu Chunchun shook her head and her face was as cold as water. Since he was already a police officer, it meant that he had graduated from the police academy. He was 21 or 22 years old, but looked like 16 or 17 years old. She was really pure. No wonder she was called Lu Chunchun. Jiang Xiu shouted, "I'm innocent. This is my first time. I've never done it before. Officer, please forgive me. I won't dare to do it again." "Catch him with the stolen goods. Take him back." "Wait." Lu Chunchun stopped her subordinates. Jiang Xiu's heart was moved. Is it because of my flirting that her heart is moved, and she wants to let me go? Lu Chunchun smiled gently at Jiang Xiu. Her smile was really beautiful with a trace of gentleness. Her teeth were white and neat. She grabbed Jiang Xiu's shoulders with both hands and pulled suddenly. "Oh!" With a scream, Jiang Xiu's abdomen was hit hard and his whole body was bent like a shrimp in pain. Lu Chunchun scolded fiercely, "Bastard! Take him back to the station and educate him well." Cheng Lingsu checked other property and her jewelry to make sure that nothing else was stolen. But her pretty face was still pale with anger. 20 yuan a day is not enough. Can't you go out and earn money if you don't know how to spend it? You have hands and feet, but you steal money. You are really something. Do you think I don't know? Cheng Lingsu felt that this guy was shameless and had no bottom line. At the same time, she was worried about his IQ. "I'd like to see how you will explain it, and how you will deal with it." Cheng Lingsu's cell phone rang. "Is that Cheng Lingsu?" "Yes, where are you?" "I'm at the Yunhu police station. Your husband, Jiang Xiu, was detained by us for prostitution. Because of your husband's bad influence, our police station will take him as a model and deal with him seriously. Come here." Cheng Lingsu opened her mouth wide and couldn't believe it. "What?" "Miss Cheng, I know you are very angry, but please come as soon as possible. If you don't come, someone will die." "Stop, Officer Lu, that's enough." The phone call stopped abruptly. Cheng Lingsu couldn't believe it for a long time. Jiang Xiu stole her money to do that kind of thing. She was so angry that her head hurt. She took the car key and went out of the house angrily. When she arrived at the police station, Cheng Hanlin and his wife, as well as Jiang Yi and his wife, had also arrived in a hurry. "Su, what the hell is going on?" Lin Yueling asked. Sun Xiaohong said, "What else could it be? I didn't expect that minor repairs would do such a wicked thing. Sister-in-law, I don't want to criticize you, but our Su, how did you get involved with such a man?" Sun Xiaohong's tears fell down as she spoke. These days, the two families had met. After all, Jiang Xiu was back, but the atmosphere had changed. Jiang Xiu was crippled and looked like a pile of mud. Sun Xiaohong's disdain was written on her face. She mocked and ridiculed him. Now this happened. Chapter 347. In the police station, Lu Chunchun had changed into a police uniform. She was still as pure as before, but she looked more valiant. Jiang Xiu felt strange at that time. How could such a beautiful girl work in this line of work? Even if she worked in this line of work, she could make some achievements and enter a high-end club or something. She would not be reduced to the streets. It turned out that she was an undercover. Jiang Xiu reached out to cover his face and said, "Stop hitting me. If you hit me again, I will sue you for violent law enforcement." Lu Chunchun gasped and glared angrily. She said fiercely, "Sue me. Just sue me. Scum like you should be beaten to death." Jiang Xiu said, "Officer Lu, do you always abhor evil like this?" "What do you mean?" Lu Chunchun said with a little guilty conscience. "Are you saying that I am abusing my position to avenge private wrongs?" Jiang Xiu said timidly, "Isn't it? In fact, I am wronged. I went there to have fun. I didn't mean to take advantage of you. How could I know that you are an undercover? I thought you were doing that for a living." Lu Chunchun said with integrity, "Is this still my problem?" Jiang Xiu lowered his head and did not speak. On the way back, the more Lu Chunchun thought about it, the more she panicked. She had been taken advantage of by a boy. The problem was that Officer Lu Chunchun was not pure in name. She was really pure. So far, she had never had a boyfriend. It was a huge loss. When she returned to the police station, she could not help but beat Jiang Xiu up again. Lu Chunchun looked at his miserable appearance, and he was a cripple. "You are unlucky. The bureau will set up an example. You will be seriously educated." Jiang Xiu still did not speak. "Next time, don't go to that kind of place again. It is illegal." Jiang Xiu nodded and still did not dare to raise his head. "What do you do?" Jiang Xiu shook his head. "No job. Jobless vagrant." Seeing Jiang Xiu's submissive look, Lu Chunchun felt a little helpless. "Find a proper job. If you have a job, you won't have time to go to that kind of place. You can live a more sunny life." Jiang Xiu touched his leg and said, "People like me who can't find a job will be discriminated against wherever I go. You can't even get a waiter." Lu Chunchun opened her mouth but couldn't say anything. She looked at Jiang Xiu with sympathy. "Take a good education. If you can't find anything to do, come to me. I'll find a way for you." Jiang Xiu said, "You're willing to help me?" Lu Chunchun said, I'll take it as a promise. Don't go to that kind of place in the future." Jiang Xiu said, "It's really my first time there. This is the first time this family has done it, right?" Well, wasn't this the conversation they had in the sauna? Now that they were talking about it, the atmosphere suddenly became a little strange. The door was pushed open. The parents of the two families and Cheng Lingsu came in. Lin Yueling came in and asked, "Minor repairs. What the hell is going on?" Jiang Xiu lowered his head and didn't say a word. Lu Chunchun looked at the family. Jiang Yi and Lin Yueling were dressed plainly, but Cheng Hanlin and Sun Xiaohong were dressed well. Cheng Lingsu behind them was the same. She put on the airs of a police officer and said, "Are you his mother? Your son was caught red-handed. Because he committed the crime, we decided to give him a serious education." Jiang Xiu lowered his head even more. Lin Yueling stared at Jiang Xiu in disbelief. "After coming back, you've been living like a puddle of mud. When will you pull yourself together?" "Pull myself together?" Jiang Xiu avoided Lin Yueling's eyes. "I'm an adult. If you give me 20 yuan a day, I can't even get out of the house. How can I pull myself together?" Lin Yueling looked at Cheng Lingsu. When the family was in good condition, she gave Cheng Lingsu a lot of money. Cheng Lingsu moved her lips and was about to say something. Sun Xiaohong sneered and said, "You have the nerve to say that. As a man, you don't support your family, but wait for your wife to support you. Our Su is really blind to marry you." Lu Chunchun looked at the beautiful Cheng Lingsu in astonishment. When Cheng Lingsu came in, she was amazed as a girl. She praised in her heart that there was such a beautiful girl in the world. She didn't expect that she was this guy's wife. Now she was even more confused. His wife was so beautiful. Why did she go out to prostitute? Lin Yueling gritted her teeth. Now their family was poor and Lin Yueling couldn't take out money. She and Jiang Yi also lived a hard life. She couldn't refute this point, but she felt aggrieved in her heart. After all, she used to be so successful. She looked at Jiang Xiu and said, "Even if you feel ashamed and can't get out of the house, how can you do this kind of thing? You already have Su Su." Jiang Xiu lowered his head and didn't say a word. Finally, he seemed to summon up his courage and said with low self-esteem, "Su Su doesn't let me touch her." Boom. Lin Yueling's head exploded, and Jiang Yi's face also became very bad. Lin Yueling looked back at Cheng Lingsu and saw that Lin Yueling's face changed greatly with unprecedented shame in her eyes. Cheng Lingsu's heart suddenly sank. From childhood to adulthood, Lin Yueling treated her better than her own daughter. She had never looked at her like this. Cheng Lingsu's face also became a little pale. "No, Mom, listen to me," Lin Yueling said. "You don't have to explain to me. Is what you said about minor repairs true?" Cheng Lingsu bit her red lips and said, "Yes." Lin Yueling's whole body exploded, and the pores on her body opened. She said with tears in her eyes, "Yes, my son is not worthy of you now. Divorce." Jiang Xiu's head lowered even more. Cheng Lingsu's face changed suddenly. She wanted to explain, but Sun Xiaohong next to her shouted, "Let's divorce." "Sister-in-law, it's not us who said this, it's you who said it. Minor repairs did this kind of thing, how can you blame others?" Lin Yueling said, "Don't say any more, let's divorce." Lin Yueling was very gentle and kind, but once she made a decision, she would never change her mind. "Brother Yi, you see." Cheng Hanlin was in a dilemma. "Let's divorce." Jiang Yi also agreed. Lu Chunchun was stunned. "I just caught a prostitute and separated the couple." This kind of thing, they also had a way to deal with it. When they were old and married, they would usually inform their friends, but not their wives directly, unless there was no one else, because it would be easy to blow up the situation. However, Jiang Xiu was only 20 years old. Lu Chunchun didn't expect that he was already married. Originally, she just wanted to let his elders or girlfriends see clearly. Maybe her subordinates saw that she was angry, so they really did inform all of them. But now she couldn't say anything. "Everyone, it's not that serious. How about this? After paying the fine, you can take him back and slowly educate him, so that he can calm down and discuss it slowly." Lin Yueling had already left the interrogation room and went over to pay the fine. The atmosphere was very stiff. Lu Chunchun went over to untie Jiang Xiu's handcuffs. Jiang Xiu stood up, limping. Lu Chunchun inexplicably felt a trace of guilt. She didn't know that things would turn out like this. For a person like Jiang Xiu, who was poor and disabled, even an ordinary girl would not be willing to marry such a person, let alone a beautiful girl like Cheng Lingsu. She felt that she might have done something wrong, which might harm Jiang Xiu's life. Jiang Xiu limped out. His back was so lonely. The sun outside the window shone on his body, pulling his shadow long. After leaving the police station, Lin Yueling said, "Your marriage certificate is with me. Go back with me to get it, and go directly to the Civil Affairs Bureau to do the formalities." The police station was not far from Jiang Xiu's house, just a few streets away. When they reached home, Lin Yueling went upstairs. Not long after, she came down with their marriage certificate. Cheng Lingsu saw Lin Yueling's cold face and handed the certificate over. She said, "Mom, I didn't look down on you, nor did I look down on Jiang Xiu. If she asked herself honestly, Lin Yueling really treated her well. Lin Yueling doted on her even more than her own mother. But at this moment, Lin Yueling looked at her with a somewhat indifferent gaze. It was so cold that she wanted to cry. "Take it." When Sun Xiaohong saw this, she reached out and took the certificate. "Don't waste time. The Civil Affairs Bureau will be closing soon." Lin Yueling handed the other certificate to Jiang Xiu and said, "Go home early when you're done. Mom will make you something delicious. Don't wander around outside, okay?" Jiang Xiu nodded. "Go quickly." Chapter 348. Lin Yueling didn't go with them, but Sun Xiaohong did. She was worried that Cheng Lingsu wouldn't be able to handle the situation, and she was also worried that Jiang Xiu would go back on his word. Of course, there were still some details, such as the assets under Cheng Lingsu's name, which hadn't been mentioned yet. Cheng Lingsu drove the car, Sun Xiaohong sat in the front passenger seat, and Jiang Xiu sat in the back. Along the way, only Sun Xiaohong spoke. Minor repairs. You're a man, right? Jiang Xiu nodded. She asked a question with a standard. He couldn't say that he wasn't, right? As a man, you should be more magnanimous. Su didn't have it easy either. After marrying you, it would be a second marriage if she still wanted to go home. It's inevitable that she would be despised by her husband's family. As for her, she didn't have much money. She only had that house left, and she left it all to Su. What do you think? Jiang Xiu said softly. It's what I should do. Auntie knows that you're reasonable. Sun Xiaohong saw that Jiang Xiu agreed, and she was immediately overjoyed. She would fight for it on the surface, but Jiang Xiu wouldn't know about it secretly, so she didn't have to explain to him. When they arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau later, they would pull out the divorce certificate, stamp it, and get divorced. They would have nothing to do with each other in the future. Cheng Lingsu said, "Mom." She signaled Sun Xiaohong to stop talking. The Civil Affairs Bureau wasn't far, and they arrived in 10 minutes. There were fewer people getting divorced than getting married. Moreover, it wasn't a holiday today, so there was basically no one around. The two of them sat in front of the staff. The staff was a woman in her 30s. She wore a business suit and looked at Jiang Xiu and Cheng Lingsu. Did you divorce voluntarily? Jiang Xiu lowered his head and nodded. Cheng Lingsu hesitated for a moment before nodding. Okay, then fill in this form. After that, the man handed the two forms to Jiang Xiu and Cheng Lingsu, then got up and walked out. He would give the two of them 10 minutes alone. Some of those who wanted a divorce were rational and clear-headed, but there were also some who were hot-headed. When they were asked to sit inside and reminisce about their own marriages, there were also many who did not want a divorce. Cheng Lingsu took the pen and looked at Jiang Xiu saying, I can't write anymore. Jiang Xiu said, I'm almost done. I'll give it to you when I finish. Cheng Lingsu said, Jiang Xiu, I'm not looking down on you, nor am I discriminating against you. The reason why I'm treating you this way is because you treated me this way before. Jiang Xiu said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, blood for blood, I understand. Cheng Lingsu frowned and said, why are your words so unpleasant? What do you mean an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, blood for blood? Do you not understand human language, or do you not know how to speak human language? Don't blame me for not reminding you. After the divorce, who would be willing to marry someone like you? Jiang Xiu said, are you looking down on me? Cheng Lingsu knew that she had said something wrong. That's not what I meant. Jiang Xiu said, that's what you meant. You look down on me from the bottom of your heart. You think that I'm poor and disabled. You think that no girl will like someone like me, let alone marry me. Cheng Lingsu said, I really didn't. Jiang Xiu said, you don't have to deny it. I don't mean to rely on you. While they were talking, Jiang Xiu had already filled in the cousin's form and handed the pen over. Cheng Lingsu looked at Jiang Xiu, who took the initiative to hand the pen over. She didn't reach out to take it. I really don't despise you for being poor, nor am I discriminating against you. And last night, I wasn't mentally prepared. And in the middle of the night, I was scared by you. I've said what I should say, and explained what I should. If you still want to divorce, I won't have any objections. In other words, she was still willing to give Jiang Xiu a chance. Although Jiang Xiu didn't know why Cheng Lingsu said this, he had already seen through her. Perhaps, there was something moral about this marriage contract that made it difficult for her to make up her mind. Jiang Xiu said, forget it. As he spoke, he handed the pen over. You simply have an inferiority complex. Cheng Lingsu didn't take the pen. She picked up her own form and filled it in. Her pen could actually write again. I don't want to make it too ugly. How about this? I'll leave that house to you. Jiang Xiu said, no need. Cheng Lingsu said, I said I'll give it to you, so I'll give it to you. You're already like this, and you still want to leave with nothing. Don't tell me you want to stay on the balcony spring bed for the rest of your life. It'll be easier to find a wife in the future if you have a house. Jiang Xiu lowered his head. At this time, the staff came in and sat across from them. Jiang Xiu and Cheng Lingsu handed the cousin over. She said, both of you, have you thought it through? Let me give the two of you a word of advice. 100 years of cultivation is enough to cross the sea together. 1,000 years of cultivation is enough to sleep on the same bed. Marriage is a great fate, you must cherish it. Or insist on a divorce. Jiang Xiu nodded. Cheng Lingsu also nodded. That's good. After the staff confirmed it again and again, they cut the marriage certificate right in the middle of the two wedding photos, separating the two of them. Then they took the form and asked their colleagues to make a divorce certificate. Okay, the two of you are officially divorced. Jiang Xiu said thank you very softly. After leaving the room, Sun Xiaohong was already a little impatient from waiting. Seeing Cheng Lingsu come out to greet her, she asked, "Is everything done?" Seeing that she was holding the divorce certificate in her hand, she took it over and began to read it. Cheng Lingsu didn't know why, but she felt a sense of melancholy. After all, her soul was sealed. After all, her family and friends knew that she used to be Jiang Luoxia's wife. After all, in order to protect Jiang Xiu's dignity, she knelt in front of him. Thinking of this, her eyes turned red. She wanted to cry, but she also felt embarrassed. She couldn't help but turn her head to look at Jiang Xiu. Suddenly, her brain exploded and she felt a chill down her spine. She saw Jiang Xiu smile evilly. That was the smile of a person who had succeeded in his evil scheme. It was very scary. However, this devilish smile disappeared in a flash. Jiang Xiu was so dejected that he didn't say another word of courtesy to them. He dragged his crippled leg and limped out of the Civil Affairs Bureau. His lonely back revealed a bleak and desolate feeling. Mr. Jiang, who had trampled half of Jiangnan under his feet, suddenly fell from the clouds. He lost his cultivation and broke a leg. Now he was abandoned and became a divorcee. The word tragic seemed to be written on his back. Sun Xiaohong saw Cheng Lingsu stare blankly at Jiang Xiu's back. Tears fell from her eyes unconsciously. Silly girl. Why are you crying? Could it be that you can't bear to part with him? He's not who he used to be. He doesn't deserve you at all. Only then did Cheng Lingsu feel the coldness on her cheeks. She hurriedly wiped her tears and said, "No, I'm just a little sad. We grew up together. I don't want him to be like this." Sun Xiaohong said, "It's all fate." At this time, a taxi stopped in front of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Cheng Lingran hurriedly got out of the car and ran in. Cheng Lingsu's sharp eyes immediately saw her. "Sister, why are you here?" Cheng Lingran said anxiously. "What's the matter? Why did you suddenly want a divorce? Where are the minor repairs?" Cheng Lingsu's eyes were a little sad. "He's already gone." Seeing the divorce certificate in Sun Xiaohong's hand, Cheng Lingran took it and glanced at it. "He's really divorced. Su, don't you think you've gone too far? The minor repairs are already like this, and you still want to divorce him. What if he can't bear it?" Cheng Lingsu said, "It's not that bad. Besides, I gave him a chance, but he didn't cherish it. A man needs to be respected." Cheng Lingsu was silent for a moment and said, "We'll divorce even if he doesn't want to." Sun Xiaohong interrupted and said, Ran, whose side are you on?" Cheng Lingran said, "Mom, I'm just stating facts." Sun Xiaohong said, "Do you know what Jiang Xiu did? He went to visit prostitutes and was arrested by the police. He even said that Su didn't let him touch her. It was just an excuse to fool around. Your Aunt Yueling felt hurt and couldn't bear it. She initiated a divorce." "How can you blame Su for this?" Cheng Lingran frowned and said, "No way. The minor repairs can't be that kind of person, right?" Sun Xiaohong said, "He was arrested by the police. How can it be fake? The police originally wanted to detain him, but seeing that we were about to divorce, the police officer showed mercy." "Hey, where are you going?" Cheng Lingran ran outside and replied, "To find the minor repairs. I'm worried that something will happen to him. Come back early tonight." Cheng Lingran ran out of the Civil Affairs Bureau and saw Jiang Xiu not far away. She quickly chased after him. Looking at his limping appearance, the passers-by gave him a look of disdain. Cheng Lingran covered her mouth and cried bitterly. It was so unfair. Why did such a thing happen to him? Chapter 349. Cheng Lingran followed Jiang Xiu all the way to the riverside. In the afternoon, the riverside road was particularly quiet. The leaves by the roadside swayed gently in the wind, and the sun shone on them, giving them a faint luster and adding a little warmth. However, Jiang Xiu's back was so lonely that it made people feel sorry for him. When he walked past the tree, a few green leaves left the restraint of the branches and fluttered in the breeze. They fell on Jiang Xiu's shoulder with a little desolation. Seeing him go all the way to the riverside and sit down, Cheng Lingran came to his side and sat down as well. Jiang Xiu said, "You don't trust me?" Cheng Lingran shook her head and said, "No." Her eyes were so clear that she couldn't hide a trace of emotion. "I apologize to you on behalf of Su Su." Jiang Xiu bowed his head and didn't say anything. Cheng Lingran looked at the river in front of them and praised sincerely, "It's so beautiful here." He had lost his cultivation and was crippled. Cheng Lingran didn't know how powerful Jiang Xiu used to be, but now he was very dispirited. He was like a pile of mud. Living was like dying. Cheng Lingran also did a lot for him, but he was still the same. Now Cheng Lingsu even divorced him. She was really worried that Jiang Xiu couldn't bear it. Really, Jiang Xiu didn't look up at the beautiful river at all. Cheng Lingran's heart ached. She knew that the world in Jiang Xiu's eyes was dark at this moment. There was no color in everything, so how could he see beauty? Minor repairs. Don't be like this, okay? Cheng Lingran's voice was a little bit sobbing. You're still so young. There are still many things waiting for you to do. You still have a bright future. Future? Jiang Xiu sneered as if this was a great irony. He grabbed his leg and said, "I'm lame, I'm disabled. When I walked here just now, the people on the side of the road either looked at me strangely or avoided me. It was as if I was a monster with bacteria that would infect anyone who got close." Minor repairs. She didn't know what to say. It was hard for anyone to accept that a perfectly healthy person had become a cripple. She had also thought that if she was crippled, she would also be disheartened. No one despises you. When he said this, Cheng Lingran felt guilty. Didn't Su Su divorce him because she disliked him? What he said might have the opposite effect. As expected, Jiang Xiu's eyes dimmed, and he slowly lowered his head. Seeing Jiang Xiu like this, Cheng Lingran's heart ached faintly. In this world, the person who knew Cheng Lingran's nature best was neither her parents nor her sister. It was Jiang Xiu. Not only were they childhood sweethearts, but she also married Jiang Xiu in her previous life. Jiang Xiu could read her thoughts with every look and action. The most effective trick in front of Cheng Lingran was to act pitiful. She was very sympathetic, especially towards Jiang Xiu. Don't be like this, okay? Do you want to live like this for the rest of your life? Jiang Xiu said. There's nothing wrong with that. He hugged his knees and buried his head in them. His body was trembling there, like an injured beast. Cheng Lingran put her hand on his shoulder. Don't be stubborn. Su Su is a bad girl. Let's ignore her. She has been like this since she was a child. Jiang Xiu didn't raise his head. He just said softly, I'm fine. His body couldn't stop trembling. Cheng Lingran could feel the pain from his hand on his shoulder, and her heart trembled with it. I know you're very sad. Why don't you cry it out? You'll feel better after crying. Jiang Xiu repeated, I'm fine. Go back. I want to be alone. Cheng Lingran didn't dare. The river was in front of them. If she rushed in impulsively, the consequences would be unimaginable. If something really happened to Jiang Xiu, she would never forgive herself, and she wouldn't be able to explain it to her parents. No. If you want to be alone, you have to go back with me first. Jiang Xiu thought of his previous life. Cheng Lingran comforted him. At that time, he had no one to rely on. He hated the Cheng family to the core, so he vented all his emotions on her. At that time, he roared like a beast and almost killed Cheng Lingran. Can you go? The Cheng family doesn't need to care about my affairs. Cheng Lingsu and I are divorced. We have nothing to do with each other anymore. Cheng Lingran was stunned. She couldn't believe that these words came from Jiang Xiu. In this world, other than his parents and sister, the most important person to him was Jiang Xiu. She knew that other than his parents, the most important person to Jiang Xiu was her. This relationship was nurtured since young, and was irreplaceable. But now he actually said such words. The Chung family owed him too much, and Susu hurt him too much. In fact, even she couldn't bear to see it. Jiang Xiu had only been back for a few days, and now he was divorced. Her disdain for the poor and favor the rich was exposed. She had never scolded her sister, but just now, she had already said harsh words. Go. I don't need your hypocrisy, Chung Lingran cried out. Go. Chung Lingran looked at him with red eyes, and there was a fierce light in her eyes. She said, I won't go. Minor repairs. Don't be like this. I'm scared of you. Jiang Xiu said, don't be hypocritical here. There's no good person in the Chung family. First, your father framed my father, and then your mother came to harm me. They didn't do it on purpose. Jiang Xiu said, yes, they didn't do it on purpose. I deserve it. You won't go, right? I'll go. He stood up, turned around, and walked away. Chung Lingran felt her heart pounding. Jiang Xiu was telling the truth. His father's choice ruined Jiang Xiu's childhood, and his sister's choice ruined his marriage. At this moment, Jiang Xiu's hair was messy, his beard was unkempt, and he was even dragging a lame leg. Originally, if his sister was with him, there might be a chance for him to pull himself together. But now what hope could he see? While she was hesitating, Jiang Xiu had already disappeared. Chung Lingran was shocked and hurriedly chased after him. All the way to the arch bridge, she didn't see Jiang Xiu's voice. The arch bridge was very lively, and was considered a scenic spot. The bridge was full of stalls, and there were also many people on the bridge, but it seemed to be unusually crowded today. Hey, why did he commit suicide at such a young age? Yes, no matter how serious the matter is, he can't commit suicide. Young people nowadays are really. I guess he's heartbroken. Boom. Chung Lingran felt that her whole head was about to explode. Her heart suddenly fell to the bottom, and her whole body was chilled to the bone. She shouted, minor repairs. She desperately ran over. Many people on the bridge looked into the river. Her thin body exhausted the strength of Herculean bulls and 2 tigers. When she squeezed to the bridge, she only saw the water in the river and tears came down. Help, you, save him, save you, save him. Are you kidding? It's more than 10 meters away from the river. Who dares to jump down to save people? It's possible to fall to death. An old man on the side, about 60 or 70 years old, was walking here. Little girl, is he your friend? Chung Lingran was already in tears. She nodded vigorously. I beg you, please save him. She almost fainted from crying. I've already called the police. I hope the marine police can hurry up. When the voice fell, the submarine at the far end had already sped up, and the horsepower was at full power. It's too late. It's too long under the water. I'm afraid it's too late. The speedboat roared, and the 2 frogmen had already been ready. Without waiting for the speedboat to stop, they jumped directly into the water. Everyone was talking about it, hoping that it would be too late. Chung Lingran was not a believer, but at this time, she crossed her fingers and trembled hard. Don't have an accident, don't have an accident. 1 minute passed. 2 minutes passed. The river was very calm, but the water below could not be described clearly. It was not easy to fish people out of the water. In the past, people in the village who drowned in the pond could not be fished out, let alone such a big river. It's over. The old man on the side shook his head and looked regretful. Hey, he's still so young. Why don't he know how to cherish life? 3 minutes passed. Chung Lingran's pretty face was pale without a trace of blood. She stared at the water, but her eyes were unfocused. She knew that the possibility of Jiang Xiu's survival was very small. It could be said that it was very small. Suddenly someone shouted, fished up. A frogman emerged from the water, carrying a person, but in the next second, Chung Lingran's face bloomed with a smile and said, is it a girl? The frogman was carrying a person with long hair, and wearing a skirt on his shoulder. This could not be Jiang Xiu. Chapter 350. Chung Lingran felt that her dying heart had come back to life. Thank God it's not minor repairs. In such a short time, she almost collapsed from exhaustion. The frogman tried to save her, but she was already dead. People were full of taboos about death, and always wanted to stay away from it. When they heard that someone had died, the onlookers quickly dispersed. Chung Lingran also planned to leave. When she turned around, she saw the figure of a disappointed man in the distance. He was leaning on the railing, looking at the river in a daze. Who else could it be but Jiang Xiao? Chung Lingran ran towards Jiang Xiao. Minor repairs. Jiang Xiao looked over when he heard the sound, only to see Chung Lingran throw herself into his arms and burst into tears. You scared me to death. I thought it was you. I thought I would never see you again. Jiang Xiao stood there like an oak tree. You thought I would commit suicide? Chung Lingran didn't dare to speak. At this moment, her hands and feet were still cold. When she heard that someone had jumped into the river, she subconsciously thought it was Jiang Xiao. She was really scared out of her wits. However, Jiang Xiao's situation really showed signs of such a thing. Just now, he was staring at the river in a daze. If he was impulsive, he would end up like that girl. Promise me, don't do anything stupid. Chung Lingran said emotionally. You're lame now, but so what? It's just inconvenient for you to walk. Your parents will take care of you, and I will take care of you too. Jiang Xiao said, my parents will grow old, and you will get married in the end. Chung Lingran said firmly, I won't get married. I'm not engaged to anyone. I can take care of you for as long as I can. Jiang Xiao never expected that Chung Lingran would fall in love with him. In his previous life, Chung Lingran was with him to pay off a debt. In this life, he didn't have such an extravagant hope. However, people are selfish. Jiang Xiao longed to have Chung Lingran. The roots of their love were deeply planted in his previous life. Perhaps this was an ill-fated relationship, but Jiang Xiao's heart was twisted. What? You don't believe me? Jiang Xiao lowered his head to look at Chung Lingran. Her expression was very nervous, even terrified. However, her eyes were filled with determination. Jiang Xiao himself was also very nervous. In fact, he was even more nervous than her. In his previous life, Jiang Xiao constantly wanted to commit suicide. Chung Lingran tried her best to stop him. However, Jiang Xiao still abused Chung Lingran. He even did some outrageous things to her. He possessed Chung Lingran and comforted Jiang Xiao with his own body. In the end, the two of them got together naturally. However, the biggest difference between his previous life and this life was that he didn't marry Chung Lingsu in his previous life. This would be an insurmountable obstacle between them. Jiang Xiao obviously didn't care about this relationship. However, Chung Lingran was different. She definitely had her misgivings, and they were very big misgivings. Therefore, Jiang Xiao didn't know how much she cared about him, and whether she could override this relationship. Jiang Xiao said indifferently, You want me to believe you? Okay, then marry me. Jiang Xiao's eyes were so cold and full of doubt. He didn't believe her words at all. Chung Lingran realized that Jiang Xiao had lost confidence in everything in this world. After Jiang Xiao became limp like a pile of mud, Chung Lingran wanted to take care of Jiang Xiao. This was her heart's desire. However, Su Su was here, so it wasn't her turn to do this kind of thing. However, she didn't expect Su Su to abandon him like this. She was really angry at that time, but after all, she was her beloved younger sister. Her younger sister was her beauty. She felt that she had a responsibility. Because of this, she felt guilty towards Jiang Xiao. Her desire to take care of him became stronger, but she didn't think of marrying him. Although everyone was open-minded now and there were many similar situations, she was still relatively conservative and found it hard to accept. Why not? Jiang Xiao sneered. I know I'm poor and a cripple. Chung Lingran hurriedly reached out to cover his mouth and didn't let him go on. At this moment, she was at a loss and her mind was in a mess. However, she was really afraid to hear Jiang Xiao say such words. Let me think about it. Chung Lingran breathed heavily. She lowered her head and pondered. There were all kinds of struggles in her heart. If it weren't for Su Su, Jiang Xiao would have become like this. If he asked her to marry Jiang Xiao, she would agree immediately. However, Jiang Xiao and Su Su were married, which made it difficult for her to go beyond her mentality. Not to mention that outsiders would gossip, her parents would never agree. Moreover, how would she face Su Su in the future? But if she didn't agree, what would Jiang Xiao do? At this moment, Cheng Lingran was really in a dilemma. However, Jiang Xiu didn't want her to think for too long. Sometimes, people made a decision on impulse. Otherwise, there would be no regrets in this world. What's wrong? Jiang Xiu painfully covered his lame leg. Nothing. He dragged his stiff lame leg and sat down on the ground. It seemed that he couldn't hold on anymore. He grabbed his leg hard and his hands were trembling. The sadness in his eyes was intoxicating. Cheng Lingran gritted her teeth and said, "Minor repairs. I can't marry you with great fanfare. Let's not let anyone know, okay?" This was Cheng Lingran's biggest concession. Jiang Xiu was ecstatic. As long as she took this step, would she still be in control of the future? However, he said, "Take me out to meet your friends and colleagues. Are you afraid of losing face?" Cheng Lingran said, No. I'm worried about my parents and Su Su. The only people she cared about were her family. They should be grateful to you." At the mention of those three people, Jiang Xiu's eyes flashed with a trace of disgust. However, when disgust reached a certain level, it became hatred. This kind of gaze made Cheng Lingran jump in fright. "Don't blame them. I'll take good care of you in the future. Then let me kiss you." Cheng Lingran jumped in fright. She looked around and saw people coming and going around. Her pretty face flushed red. She immediately wanted to refuse. However, she thought that Jiang Xiu's nerves were so sensitive at this moment. Any refusal would make him feel discriminated against. She said awkwardly, "Here?" "Yes." Cheng Lingran covered her forehead with her hand. She didn't dare to let the people around her notice her. She said in a mosquito-like voice, "Then hurry up." Women were mystical and unimaginable to men. Men would never be able to guess what a woman was thinking. Guilt, sympathy, and sometimes having sex with a woman would be extremely useful, overriding everything else. Such things would never happen to a man. That was why it was said that women were emotional creatures. In Master Jin's story, Yang Buhui married Yin Liuxia, who was engaged to her mother. Now, Cheng Lingran's behavior seemed to be a little similar. Jiang Xiu kissed her heavily. Cheng Lingran's body tensed up like a helpless quail. Her hands were clenched tightly, but her eyes were closed. This was the first kiss. It was said that one would feel dizzy. The strong sensory stimulation hit the brain's nerves. And it was as numb as an electric arc. Jiang Xiu was worried that she would fall. So he reached out and held her waist. Jiang Xiu had seen how thin Cheng Lingran's waist was countless times in his previous life. But now, it was even thinner than Cheng Lingran's waist when she was several years younger. Cheng Lingran couldn't control herself. Cheng Lingran didn't even know when she put her hands around Jiang Xiu's neck. The man and woman kissing passionately attracted the attention of the passers-by. The bridge here had a very interesting name. It was called the Magpie Bridge. People who courted here had a very high success rate, almost 100%. Blue sky, white clouds, clear water, tender feelings. Although spiritual cultivation was a bit tarnishing the word love, dirty love was still love. Brother, sister, by a bouquet of flowers. At some point, a little girl came out with a basket of roses. Cheng Lingran woke up from the bone-corroding sensation. Her face was red, and even the tips of her ears were red. Jiang Xiu wanted to slap the little girl to death. "You're sincere, aren't you? Brother, buy a flower before continuing, okay?" Jiang Xiu said. "How much is one flower?" 100. Jiang Xiu's eyes widened. Even if he hadn't bought flowers in spiritual cultivation, he knew that one rose was worth 10 yuan. "Why don't you go rob a bank?" the little girl said. "At such an important moment in life, we only need one flower." "Brother, do you think that 100 yuan is not worth it?" Brother, sister doesn't like stingy boys. This little girl was probably only 7 or 8 years old. She looked like a little adult. Cheng Lingran couldn't help but put her right hand in front of her mouth and laugh. Her smile was really like a flower. "Okay, 100 it is." After taking the flowers, Jiang Xiu handed them to Cheng Lingran. "For you. It smells so good." Jiang Xiu still wanted to play tricks, but Cheng Lingran hurriedly dodged and said, "Your beard is pricking me to death. And your messy hair, how many days have you not washed it? In this world, only I can stand you." Cheng Lingran might have been impulsive, or even temporarily appeased. Jiang Xiu felt that this was not safe. The safest way was to directly take her down in one go. There's no place to shower at home. The home he was talking about was of course his own home. And he definitely wouldn't go to Susu's place. Come to my place. The little fool was waiting for you to say this. Chapter 351. Cheng Lingran looked at him and saw that his clothes were wrinkled. She said, "How long has it been since you bought new clothes? I'll take you to buy some new clothes." Jiang Xiu said, "Won't it be too expensive?" "Don't be so pretentious." Cheng Lingran said, "You used to ask me to buy you a lot of things. You coaxed me to buy you an exercise book, but in the end you bought a toy gun." Jiang Xiu touched his head awkwardly. "Is that true?" Cheng Lingran said, "You're pretending to have amnesia. I don't believe that you can't remember. Holding a gun in front of your friends was very awe-inspiring. Many children surrounded you and bragged about it to me." Jiang Xiu said, "It was very awe-inspiring. I was very popular at that time." Cheng Lingran smiled and said, "I'm really miserable. My parents only give me a little pocket money, and I have to save money to take the bus to the East Continent to see you. I also have to buy you a gift. I have to use up half a semester's worth of homework. My teacher thinks that my family is in a difficult situation, and always looks at me with sympathy." Jiang Xiu laughed. Seeing that there was finally a smile on his face, Cheng Lingran felt relieved. She was still very hesitant about her decision, but now she was more determined. She would pay their debts until Jiang Xiu's wounds were healed. "The car is here." Cheng Lingran took Jiang Xiu to the mall and bought a set of clothes. Cheng Lingran's taste was not for show. She was a fashionista, and her clothes were very tasteful. She originally wanted to study fashion design in college, but later she was forced by her family to change her major. Then she went to buy Jiang Xiu a razor. The clothes cost more than 2,000 yuan, and the razor cost more than 1,000 yuan, so they spent more than 3,000 yuan in one go. Jiang Xiu saw that Cheng Lingran had a difficult expression on her face, but she didn't hesitate. Ever since she was a child, Cheng Lingran would always give good things to Susu and Jiang Xiu, just like her homework. Now, she was reluctant to spend more than 3,000 yuan. It could be seen that the Cheng clan was really in a difficult situation now. Moreover, she was using a debit card. Jiang Xiu pulled her into his arms and kissed her forehead. Cheng Lingran said shyly, "What are you doing? There are so many people here." The shop assistant was still waiting for Cheng Lingran to sign the bill. After the two left, the female shop assistant couldn't help but say to her colleague, "It's really a flower stuck in cow dung. That man looks all right, but he's a cripple." The spiritual cultivation city was good at flirting, okay. As night fell, Cheng Lingran became uneasy, and the uneasiness made her a little overwhelmed. The two of them were now in the Cheng clan building. She lived directly in the Cheng clan building most of the time now, and there was a matching lounge in her office. The only place she could hide was the bathroom. Anyway, girls usually took a long shower, so she could stay a little longer. Her mind was in a mess, and she was very scared. She didn't know what to do, so she could only let the water in the shower wash her face and numb her nerves. Jiang Xiu, who was standing at the door, showed an evil smile. His hearing was amazing. He couldn't help but hear the sound of the water splashing. He could even hear that Cheng Lingran was standing under the shower without moving. She was just standing there in a daze. He reached out to open the door. Hearing the sound of the door opening, Cheng Lingran was like a frightened deer. She didn't need to look back to know who it was, because there were only the two of them here. A shadow was cast on the bright and clean bathroom tiles. The shadow was very long and full of evil. The walking posture was very strange, and he was limping, which made him look even more evil. Jiang Xiu walked over, letting the water spray on his body. He saw that Cheng Lingran's eyes were red, and her face was wet and teary. His heart was full of pity. Jiang Xiu knew that Cheng Lingran wasn't ready at all. Even if she was, she might be condemned in her heart. He reached out to wipe her tears, but the water that was washed down soon wet her face again. She said, "Will I become a shameless bad woman in the eyes of others?" Jiang Xiu's voice was low and soothing. "Maybe, but you are perfect and excellent in my heart. You are my angel," Cheng Lingran said. Is it too late for me to regret now? Jiang Xiu shook his head and said, It's too late. The night was very dark. There was the sound of cars on the street outside, but it couldn't be compared to the sound of water splashing. The space in the shower room was small. Once the desire was aroused, it would grow crazily. Cheng Lingren's eyes became as gentle as water. She whispered, Seeing you smile again, I feel that it's very worth it. Jiang Xiu said, That's because you are charming. Cheng Lingran said, You are flattering me. Jiang Xiu said, No, you are really beautiful. Really? Cheng Lingran's pretty face flushed red. She didn't shrink back, instead, she leaned even closer to him. Her eyes slowly drooped, and they flickered gently. She asked softly but boldly, Is Ran okay? Okay. The blurred night, the pressure of life, the eyes of the world, and the impact of life and death made people lose their reason and confused. Cheng Lingran was held up by Jiang Xiu's strong arms. She seemed to be floating in the clouds. She was so scared. Jiang Xiu went to the prostitute because Su Su didn't let him touch her. His sensitive and inferior heart was seriously hurt. She didn't dare to refuse, nor did she have the heart to refuse. No, don't. Not here. The night music was beautiful. The cars on the street were speeding. The lights were red and green. The sharp pain made Cheng Lingran lose her mind. Her consciousness fell into a blank for a short time. Only then did she realize that her persistence for many years had collapsed at this moment. The night wind blew, and ripples appeared on the surface of the river. The flowers and plants in the distance seemed to be unable to withstand the wind, and were on the verge of collapse. The wind and rain gradually intensified, and the delicate stamens seemed to be unable to withstand such devastation, letting out whistling sounds in the wind. A great female writer once wrote such a sentence: The thing that leads to a woman's heart is that thing. Therefore, at this moment, the spiritual cultivation took out 18 kinds of martial arts to completely conquer her. The night was not over. The light of the burning court burned. The gentleman stopped. The sound of the phoenix was about to arrive. When Cheng Lingran woke up, she was lying in Jiang Xiu's arms. Her bed in the lounge was not wide. The morning sun shone in through the window. She sat up with a red face. When she looked at the time, she was shocked. It was 8 o'clock. She had to go to work at 9 o'clock. However, she saw Jiang Xiu looking at her with narrowed eyes. Cheng Lingran bit her red lips shyly. Suddenly, she reached out and twisted Jiang Xiu's ear fiercely. Rogue. Pervert. Big bad guy. A devilish smile appeared on Jiang Xiu's face. Everything he had plotted had come to fruition. This sense of satisfaction made him feel extremely proud. He turned around and fought again. Cheng Lingran was shocked. Do you want me to die? I'll be gentle. Cheng Lingran gently tapped on his nose. When have you ever kept your words? You can only blame yourself for being too beautiful. The two of them originally had a very good foundation for their relationship. After breaking through this layer of window paper, they became even more intimate. After that, she went into the bathroom and looked at her shower stall. Thinking about how her most precious thing was taken away by that bastard, she felt sweet and wronged in her heart. Sister, it's 8:55. Cheng Lingran was shocked. It's all your fault. Hurry up and brush your teeth and wash your face. But her pretty face was super unnatural, and her indescribable parts were burning with pain. Fortunately, the office was not far outside. It was only a few steps away. I'm going to work. Jiang Xiu gave her a thumbs up and praised her from the bottom of his heart. A hero among women. Cheng Lingran was angry. She picked up the door and threw it at him. It was too abominable to smash him to death. When she arrived at the office, there was a slight conversation outside. The employees had started to go to work. Sitting in front of the computer, Cheng Lingran fell into a daze. That enclosed lounge was like a paradise. Once she left, everything from the outside world came crashing down on her. Good morning, Vice President Cheng. Cheng Lingran's secretary came in. Cheng Lingran squeezed out a smile. Didn't you have breakfast? Do you want me to buy it for you? Cheng Lingran shook her head. This is the acceptance document of the project. Take a look. If there is no problem, we need your signature. Then, the finance department will transfer the money to the engineering department. Chung Lingran took the document and read it. But I heard that the finance department has no money. Chung Lingran looked up at her and said, "Don't ask and don't say such things. Of course, the finance department has money. The Chung clan has more than 2 billion in assets. Can't they take out a few million?" The secretary lowered her head and said, "I'm sorry, Vice President Chung. It won't happen again." Chapter 352. At present, the Chung clan group did not have any money in its account, but Chung Hanlin had already mortgaged the villa. If there were no accidents, the money would be transferred to the account soon. As they were talking, the female secretary's expression suddenly changed. She said with a bit of panic, "Vice President Chung, did you hear a sound in your lounge? Could it be a thief?" Chung Lingren's pretty face reddened. "There's no sound." Jiang Xiu got up to brush his teeth and wash his face. After pretending for so many days, Chung Lingran had made such a big sacrifice to save him. If he continued pretending, he was afraid that it would be counterproductive. He had to cheer up a little. Otherwise, Chung Lingran might just wash her hands and quit. The female secretary said, "Listen carefully, there really is." It was not that the female secretary did not have good eyesight, but Chung Lingren's heart was focused on the group. She did not care about love at all. Of course, she would not know that Miss Chung had brought a man back last night, and to the place where she worked. Chung Lingran said, "No." The female secretary's eyes widened. "It's so loud, and you still can't hear it." Suddenly, she realized something and her voice stopped abruptly. "Oh, I don't think so. I heard wrong. Boss, I'll go out first." As soon as she ran out, she covered her mouth. "Oh my God." After she went out, Chung Lingran carefully checked the information. She was very clear about the importance of the information. Usually there was no need to be so detailed. However, Chung Lingren's personality made it so that she had to be cautious. About 10 minutes later, Chung Lingran received a text message. It was from Jiang Xiu. "Sister, I'm hungry." Chung Lingran smiled. She was honest. Just now, she was almost caught as a thief. She did not dare to come out with a door between them. She reached out and pressed the phone on the table. "I'm a little hungry. Buy breakfast and come back." Chung Lingran had a bad habit. She was not willing to eat breakfast. She did not know who misheard, but it was said that eating breakfast would make her gain weight. "Okay, boss." Not long after, Chung Lingran pushed open the door and came in with breakfast. Jiang Xiu was already neatly dressed and leaning against the window, looking at the scenery outside in a daze. Chung Lingran knew that Jiang Xiu couldn't pull himself together all of a sudden. He had to slowly get used to it. Today was already much better than yesterday, and that was enough. "Young master, your breakfast," Jiang Xiu said. "Why are there only 2 steamed buns and a bottle of milk? How can I be full?" Chung Lingran said, "Just make do with it. The secretary thought it was for me." Jiang Xiu said, "What? Feeling guilty?" Chung Lingran stuffed a steamed bun directly into Jiang Xiu's mouth. Even the food couldn't stop him from talking. "You promised me. Don't try to act shamelessly. We can't let outsiders know about our relationship." Jiang Xiu's mouth was stuffed and he couldn't speak. Chung Lingran smiled sweetly and said, "Eat slowly. Don't be lazy anymore. Start preparing your study materials today. Go to Jiangnan University next semester. You are the top scorer of the college entrance examination in Jiangnan province, and your student registration is at Capital University. It shouldn't be difficult to move back here. Study. Of course. Although education is not the most important thing, what kind of job can you find with a high school diploma without an education? Originally, you could have come to the Chung clan to help, but now the Chung clan. For the long term, you must have a college degree." Jiang Xiu said reluctantly, "Okay. Sister, don't work too hard." Chung Lingran shook her head and said, "No, I'm the eldest daughter in the family. Su Su is wild and likes to wander outside. This family will definitely be inherited by me in the future. I have to hold on to it." Jiang Xiu said, "You can definitely do it." Chung Lingran sighed. It would be good if business only relied on skills and vision. In the face of absolute power, even the best vision and best skills are useless. Jiang Xiu said. I also heard that the Cheng clan situation doesn't seem to be very good. Cheng Lingran said. There will always be a way to solve it. By the way, quickly go home after eating. You didn't come back last night. Auntie is worried sick. Jiang Xiu nodded. Then I'll come find you at night. Don't come. Stay at home obediently. Jiang Xiu said. It's not easy to sleep at home. Even so, you're not allowed to come. Cheng Lingran's delicate body was ravaged last night. She had to rest for a night, otherwise her life would be in danger. This guy would definitely not be honest here. Jiang Xiu said. I just came to sleep. Who are you lying to, you big liar? Leaving the Cheng clan's building, Jiang Xiu dragged his limping foot and walked step by step. Life was all about acting. The highest level was to be the person in the scene. Since he pretended to be a cripple, he had to be limping all the time. Otherwise, a careless passerby might expose his existence. While walking, a BMW drove over. Beep beep. Hearing the sound of the horn, Jiang Xiu turned his head to look. The driver rolled down the window, revealing a beautiful face. Her long hair fluttered in the wind and she wore sunglasses. It was his ex-wife Cheng Lingsu. Why did you turn off your phone? I waited for you for more than an hour yesterday. Do you want the house or not? Jiang Xiu said no. What a joke. Would spiritual cultivation want that house? Then take your things away. Jiang Xiu said. Throw everything away. Oh, Jiang Xiu, don't show off. It's not easy for auntie and uncle to earn money. You can take those things back and use them. And those clothes. Jiang Xiu ignored her and walked faster with his limping foot. He's really crippled. Two familiar faces peeked out of the rear window. They were Cheng Lingsu's two best friends, Ouyingqian and Li Dan. In the past, when they saw Jiang Xiu, they were like mice that saw a cat. They were so scared that they trembled all over. This time they were unscrupulous. Hey, Jiang Xiu, are you tired of walking like this? Jiang Xiuyang pretended not to hear, but his footsteps quickened. You're leaving so fast. Susu, you're right to divorce. The powerful Jiang Luoxia has become a rat on the street. Everyone can step on him. Susu, hurry up. Say something to him. Cheng Lingsu stepped on the gas to catch up. Ouyingqian said. Jiang Xiu, now we're all in the Pantheon Biological Corporation. Susu, Li Dan, and I are all God Discoverers. I think you must be familiar with God Discoverers. Pantheon Biological Corporation? Jiang Xiu's eyes flickered. I think you should know what God Discoverers mean, right? That is, they can throw ordinary people into the lake if they want to, regardless of whether it's winter or not. The two of them had been thrown into the West Lake by Jiang Xiu. These words were mocking Jiang Xiu, but at the same time, they were threatening him. But I'll give face to Susu. After all, you're her ex-husband. Cheng Lingsu interrupted her. What are you blabbering about? Let bygones be bygones. Don't mention it again. Jiang Xiu, if you really don't want your things, I'm really going to throw them away. I'll keep them for one more night. If you don't take them away by this time tomorrow, I'll really throw them away. With that, Cheng Lingsu sped off in her car. Ouyingqian and Li Dan high-fived each other in the back seat. They were very excited. Yay, we just bullied the mighty Jiang Luoxia. It felt so good. Will he be angry? Li Dan asked. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Ouyingqian covered her mouth and giggled. In the past, when they faced Jiang Xiu, they were so scared that even a glance from him would make them tremble. But now they treated it as a joke. I heard that a person whose divine essence exploded couldn't even become an ordinary God Discoverer. He even lost a leg. He's completely crippled. She glanced at Cheng Lingsu, who was driving, and said, Susu, why aren't you saying anything? Don't tell me you really like him. How is that possible? Cheng Lingsu said. If I like him, why would I divorce him? That's true. Ouyingqian said. I forgot to tell him just now. His former rival in love, Yi Wenchen, is also in the Pantheon Biomedical Group. He's already a warlord. Even the district commander was shocked by his talent. Cheng Lingsu's face became serious. Yi Wenchen was outstanding in his studies. Now that times had changed, he was still outstanding. He could be said to be a dragon among men. His strength improved very quickly, just like when he was in high school. He would become a strong opponent for Su Su in the Pantheon Biomedical Group. But then again, Su Su, do you want to reconsider Yi Wenchen? He can't forget you. If he comes over, the strength of our hunting team will increase a lot. Ouyang Qian said. We'll talk about it later. Chapter 353. Back to Yunhu Street. There were a few pedestrians passing by the fruit stall at home. A valiant policewoman was picking fruits in front of the fruit stall, while chatting with Lin Yueling. Lin Yueling was also trying to stuff fruits into her plastic bag. This was not a forced promotion. It was obviously a gift, and the other party didn't want it no matter what. When she looked back, she saw Jiang Xiu limping back from the corner of her eye. She was finally relieved. She was really worried that Jiang Xiu didn't come back last night, but she believed that her son could be a hero or a coward. If he became a coward, he would commit suicide. He would never be a hero. Officer Liu, my son is back. The policewoman turned around and looked over. She still looked innocent and elegant in her police uniform. When she saw Jiang Xiu, she couldn't help but feel happy and relieved. Minor repairs. Where did you go last night? Officer Liu came to visit us several times. Lin Yueling said to Jiang Xiu. The corners of her mouth even revealed a trace of a smile. She thought to herself, my son is quite popular with women. This policewoman was good, but she didn't know if she would despise Jiang Xiu for being a cripple. Now, she didn't want Jiang Xiu to be rich. She would be satisfied if he could marry an ordinary girl and find a 9-to-5 job. Jiang Xiu said, Officer, why are you here? Lu Chunchun was in charge of this area. Yesterday, after Jiang Xiu and others left, she felt that she had made a mistake in her work, so she called Jiang Xiu's wife. As a result, they wanted a divorce. She was really worried about it, so she paid attention to the situation after work. She didn't expect that they would really get a divorce. Originally, the punishment for prostitution should be based on the specific situation of the people. She felt a little guilty in her heart. Later, she heard that Jiang Xiu used to be a hero. His cultivation was abolished, and he was crippled. Now he was abandoned by his wife. Under these many blows, she suspected that he would commit suicide. This time, Lu Chunchun also became nervous. If Jiang Xiu really committed suicide because of this matter, she felt that she had to bear a lot of responsibility. Therefore, she came several times yesterday and today. Now that he saw Jiang Xiu come back, he was finally relieved. She said, I'm here to see you. I'm very sorry about what happened to you. I should have understood more about your situation before dealing with it. She felt that she should have asked more about Jiang Xiu's situation. She was really angry at that time. Jiang Xiu said with a bitter face, Officer, it's really my first time. The worst thing is, I haven't succeeded yet. Lu Chunchun couldn't help laughing and said, Okay, I believe you. She thought that since he had survived yesterday, he probably wouldn't commit suicide again. I'm relieved that you're fine. I'm leaving now, Lin Yueling quickly said. Officer Liu, it's almost noon. Why don't you stay for lunch? My minor repair still needs to be taught a lesson. You have to teach him a lesson. Spiritual Cultivation's face darkened when she heard this. No, I still have something to do at the station. Maybe next time. As she spoke, she walked towards the street where a sports car was parked. Lin Yueling watched her leave and said to Jiang Xiu, Son, this daughter is not bad. Mom, she thinks that I'm divorced and she made mistakes in her work. What are you thinking? Mom knows. That's why I said she's not bad. When the police car drove out, a Mercedes-Benz drove in. Jiang Xiu and his mother didn't care. The car drove all the way to the fruit stall. An old man with a broken arm got out. His hair was gray and his body was hunched. He called out, Mr. Jiang. Jiang Xiu looked back. Old Master Tang. The person who came was the head of the Tang family, Tang Jinshan. They hadn't seen each other for more than a year. Tang Jinshan was old. Looking at Jiang Xiu, his eyes were a little red. It's been a long time. Jiang Xiu noticed that although Tang Jinshan's car was still a Mercedes-Benz, it was an old one. Although the car was very clean, the parts where the paint was scraped were not fixed. He was probably living a poor life. The Tang family was his right-hand man. After his death, they would naturally be oppressed. I heard that Mr. Jiang has been back for a few days. I didn't want to see him at first. If I did, it would only make me sad. But my body is deteriorating day by day. I feel like I'm going to die soon. I can't accept not seeing you. Jiang Xiu smiled and said, "My house is simple. I won't invite old Master Tang in." Tang Jinshan said, "I don't dare. Then I'd like to invite you to Yin Lake." One of them had a broken arm, and the other was limping. Tianqin and DK, they were a perfect match. Yin Lake in spring was exceptionally beautiful. This area had been included in the development plan, and would be demolished soon. It originally belonged to Jiang Xiu, but now it had changed owners. Tang Jinshan walked with difficulty with his walking stick. He saw the pavilion and went in. "This should have belonged to you, but now it belongs to the Zhuge family." "The Zhuge family?" Tang Jinshan said. "Do you remember that when you went to North China, you killed a young master in front of the 4 great families of North China? His name was Zhuge Tao. This person was the son of the West Shu border governor. He was a close friend of the young sword master of the West Shu Sword Palace." Jiang Xiu remembered. There was indeed such a person. The Zhuge family was only average at first. The Gu family and the Long family could compete with them. However, the Zhuge family had Si Wuxia of the West Shu Sword Palace behind them. He was like a king who ruled the world. He allowed Zhuge Shi of the Zhuge family to ascend to the throne of the Jiangnan frontier. Your power was swept away like the wind sweeping away fallen leaves. My Tang family is no exception. Now that my Tang family is on the decline, most of our disciples have been suppressed. Most of them have left Jiangnan to find another way out. Jiang Xiu did not move. The lakeside was very quiet. The sun shone on the surface of the lake, and it was very beautiful. There was also a unique atmosphere of Jiangnan. However, the atmosphere between them was filled with sorrow. The meeting of 2 losers left only sighs. Those with a better mentality could think back to the past. Those with a worse mentality could only sigh in melancholy. "I'm old. I can't stand such a group anymore. Sir, let's meet again if fate wills it." He wanted to say that they would meet again in this life. In the next life, he was not willing to be a loser. However, he could not say it. He dragged his hunched body and walked towards his car. "Old Master Tang is leaving just like that?" Tang Jinshan turned around in surprise. Jiang Xiu's eyes flashed with a sharp light. At this moment, he was like lightning flashing and thunder rumbling in the clear sky. He said, "Let your Tang family disciples return to Jiangnan." Tang Jinshan's eyes suddenly lit up. Then his whole body trembled with excitement. Mr. Jiang Yu. Even though he was just standing there, it seemed as if nothing had changed. He was still ordinary and even a cripple. However, at this moment, Jiang Xiu's aura seemed to be above the entire world. Okay, I understand. He couldn't be any more excited. The haze just now was swept away. He still had a chance. The Tang family still had a chance. "I'll go back and make the arrangements." Tang Jinshan walked energetically. The old man who was on the verge of death seemed to have been rejuvenated all of a sudden. He returned to his car in a few steps and said in high spirits like a young man, "Drive, let's go back." Lin Yueling called. "Minor repairs. Will old Master Tang stay for lunch? If so, I'll go buy some food." Jiang Xiu looked at the car in the distance. "No need, she's already gone." "Oh right, Mom, I'm going to Hangzhou." Lin Yueling said. "You're going to Hangzhou? Don't go if there's nothing. It's chaotic outside now. Although Jiangnan is a safe area, don't go out if you can." She was worried that Jiang Xiu's former enemies would deal with him. Jiang Xiu said, "I'm going to Hangzhou to apply for admission to Jiangnan. I can't not study, right? Don't tell me you're going to take care of me for the rest of my life?" Lin Yueling said, "Study? You still have to study. Otherwise, it'll be difficult to find a job. Okay then, but before you go, you have to go to your ex-wife's place and pack your things." She called Su Su his ex-wife. It seemed that she was completely disappointed in Chengling Su. Jiang Xiu said, How about I don't go? I don't want to go." Lin Yueling said. No, you're still the same as before. Now you have to save every dollar. You still have to study, buy a house, and marry a wife. You don't even know how expensive the house is now. Jiang Xiu said. Okay. Jiang Xiu didn't want to see Cheng Lingsu anymore. After lunch, he went to Cheng Lingsu's house and packed his clothes and other things. Just as he was about to leave, the door opened and Cheng Lingsu's voice sounded. Come in. Jiang Xiu looked up and saw Cheng Lingsu bringing a man back. It was Yi Wenchen, whom he hadn't seen in a long time. Cheng Lingsu's expression changed when she saw Jiang Xiu. Chapter 354. They had just gotten a divorce and his ex-wife was bringing a man home in broad daylight. Everyone would feel awkward. Cheng Lingsu said in a panic. Why didn't you tell me you were coming? Jiang Xiu pulled his suitcase. I'm here to get my things. The key is already on the table. This suitcase was the one that Cheng Lingsu had helped him pack his travel clothes. In just over a year, the suitcase still looked brand new, but everything had changed. After speaking, he pulled the suitcase and walked away. Cheng Lingsu said with an unnatural expression. Didn't you say you didn't want it anymore? Now, why did you come back to get it? You're already like this. Sometimes don't be stubborn. Jiang Xiu pulled the suitcase past them and limped towards the elevator. Yi Wenchen didn't say anything. He gently pushed up his glasses. His glasses reflected a dazzling white light under the sunlight, making it difficult for others to see his eyes clearly. There was a sense of depth and terror in his eyes. He seemed to have lowered his head inadvertently, but it happened to cover the smug smile at the corner of his mouth. In the past, you were high up and married the goddess of number 2 middle school. Today, I'm high up and looking down on you. At this moment, he experienced the taste of a winner. He had been waiting for this day for a long time. The scene in front of him was too satisfying. When he was packing his things and leaving, he saw his ex-wife bringing her old lover home. Was there anything more satisfying than revenge? He guessed that Jiang Xiu's heart must be bleeding. Cheng Lingsu walked over and reached out to pull the suitcase. Your leg is inconvenient. Let me help you. Jiang Xiu refused. Jiang Xiu, don't misunderstand. Wenchen is here to help. I also need to pack. There's a training in Pantheon creatures. We have to go to Hangzhou. We have to leave immediately. Jiang Xiu said. We don't have anything to do with each other anymore. You can do whatever you want. Cheng Lingsu's expression became very unsightly. Her slender hand gently lifted the box that weighed several kilograms. Her ability as a god discoverer was displayed without a doubt. Let me help you. He easily carried the suitcase to the elevator. Why don't you wait for me for a while? I'll send you back after I'm done packing, so that you don't have to take such a big suitcase out to call a taxi. Jiang Xiu didn't answer. Cheng Lingsu turned around and went back into the house. When Cheng Lingsu went back to her room to pack her things, she saw from the window that Jiang Xiu had already left. He dragged his suitcase and walked past the flower bed downstairs. When he reached the intersection, he hailed a taxi and left. Jiang Xiu took the car back home and put his luggage down at the fruit stall. Lin Yueling said, Are you going today? It's getting late. If you go, I'm afraid you'll have to stay there. Isn't it expensive to stay here for a night? Jiang Xiu said, I have a classmate in Hangzhou. It's okay to stay here for a night. Won't it be too troublesome for others? Now Jiang Xiu was not the same as before. Maybe his classmate was also a snob. Cheng Lingsu, whom she had watched grow up and treated as her own daughter, had turned against her. Who else could she expect? These days, she really regretted that she had forced Jiang Xiu to marry her. If Jiang Xiu had married someone else, maybe the situation would have been better. She wouldn't have been like now with nothing. Then I'll go. Son, wait. Lin Yueling was about to nod, but she saw a police car stop at the intersection. A valiant beauty she had seen every day these days jumped out of the car. It was Officer Lu Chunchun. The beautiful police officer is here. Lin Yueling's face was full of smiles. Son, is Officer Lu interested in you? Jiang Xiu said dumbly. Mom, her condition is not good enough for a rich family, but she won't fall in love with me. Don't think too much. She must have something to do. This area is originally her jurisdiction. Unexpectedly, Lu Chunchun really walked to the fruit stall here. Look, look. This made Lin Yueling excited. Hey, you're here? Lu Chunchun saw Jiang Xiu and said generously, I have several job opportunities here. If you are interested, you can have a try. Jiang Xiu was dumbfounded. Introduce jobs to me? Lu Chunchun said, yes. If you don't work at your age, do you want to spend the rest of your life like this? You will become a youth with social problems. I have to set things right for you as soon as possible. Otherwise, you will come to my place every 2 or 3 days. Jiang Xiu was speechless. Officer Lu, you are really farsighted. But I plan to go to Jiangnan University to study? Lu Chunchun said, study. Jiang Xiu said, I haven't graduated from college yet. Lin Yueling had already said, Officer Lu, you don't know that my son was the top scorer of the college entrance examination in our Jiangnan province. He is a student of the capital university, but he has taken a leave of absence for a year and a half. He is planning to transfer back to Jiangnan University to continue his studies. Lu Chunchun was very surprised and widened her beautiful eyes. I really didn't know. Well, it seems that my worry is unnecessary. Lin Yueling said. How can it be unnecessary? We can't thank you enough. In the future, Officer Lu, please use more light shields and give guidance to Jiang Xiu. This boy needs to be taught a lesson. Lu Chunchun smiled and said, no problem. This is our duty. Auntie, I'm going to Hangzhou to see my elders. Can you get me a box of good fruits? Okay. A while ago, every time Lu Chunchun bought fruits, Lin Yueling would take special care of her and give her a few more. Lu Chunchun was also returning the favor. She would also take care of Lin Yueling when there was a big business. Officer Lu, are you also going to Hangzhou? Minor repairs is also going. Can you give him a ride? You carry such a big box of fruits. You also have someone to help you. Jiang Xiu said, Mom, I'm a cripple. Lu Chunchun said with a smile, okay, anyway, I'm driving. It's just one more person. Officer Lu should be going to Hangzhou on business. She drove a police car. Jiang Xiu didn't know if it was the same car that took him back to the police station. He felt a little uncomfortable sitting in it. I feel like I've been arrested again. Lu Chunchun giggled. Then you can sit in the front passenger seat. Okay. Sitting next to Lu Chunchun, he immediately felt different. Sitting in the back, he felt like a prisoner. Sitting in the front, he was like a police officer. He even straightened his back a little. By the way, why are you going to Hangzhou? Jiang Xiu said. I'm going to apply for admission. Speaking of this, Jiang Xiu remembered that he had to tell Cheng Lingran. After all, they were newlyweds. What if she changed her mind? He took out his mobile phone and sent a message to Cheng Lingran, sister. Cheng Lingran replied, Big liar, why are you looking for me? Jiang Xiu, I miss you. Cheng Lingran, I don't want to hear it. Jiang Xiu, do you miss me? Cheng Lingran, I miss you. Don't try to get close to me. I know what you're thinking. You're not allowed to come at night. You're not allowed to come at night. Jiang Xiu thought of Cheng Lingran's flirtatious behavior last night. Although she was young, she was more attractive. I can't go at night even if you want to. Cheng Lingran. What's wrong? Jiang Xiu, I'm going to Hangzhou tonight. Cheng Lingran. What are you going to do? The two of them texted endlessly. Lu Chunchun brought Jiang Xiu with her, and originally planned to chat with people along the way to relieve boredom. But this guy just kept texting. From all the signs, only a couple in love would keep texting endlessly. Didn't this guy just get dumped and divorced? How could he have a girlfriend? It wasn't that Lu Chunchun looked down on Jiang Xiu. His family was average and he was crippled. It wouldn't be easy for him to find a girlfriend. 10 minutes. 20 minutes. Half an hour. Lu Chunchun felt like she was the driver. When she saw the highway rest stop in front, she drove in and said that she needed to go to the washroom. Jiang Xiu was still chatting. Who are you texting? You're chatting so happily. Jiang Xiu said. My wife. Lu Chunchun was puzzled. Aren't you divorced? Jiang Xiu's casual words almost made Lu Chunchun choke to death. It's new. She looked at him in a different light. Were cripples and poor people so popular these days? He had become an internet celebrity. He got divorced yesterday and had a new wife today? You young people are really... Sigh. I still feel guilty about your divorce. You're fine. This is good too. I feel at ease. Get out of the car and go eat something. I won't stop the car later. Jiang Xiu also got out of the car. The two of them walked side by side to the rest stop. It was a small world. After entering, Jiang Xiu saw Yi Wenchen and Cheng Lingsu. They were also heading to Hangzhou. Chapter 355. Su Su didn't expect to bump into him here. She felt a little guilty. Although she no longer had anything to do with Jiang Xiu, she had just divorced. It was inevitable that people would question her character if she was so close to another man. However, when he saw that there was a woman beside this kid, and it was a policewoman, he had a strange feeling in his heart. Who would want someone like him? Looking carefully, this policewoman was the one who caught Jiang Xiu for prostitution. She was wearing a police uniform. Generally, she would only wear a police uniform when she went out for business. She remembered that she had said that she wanted to catch Jiang Xiu as a model. Jiang Xiu, what's wrong with you? Lu Chunchun recognized that this person was Jiang Xiu's ex-wife, and there was a handsome and gentle escort beside her. She couldn't help looking at Jiang Xiu and sympathizing with him. Although he seemed to be texting with a girl just now, after all, he could be stubborn, and she felt that he was more stubborn. It was not that she discriminated against Jiang Xiu, but in fact, it was more difficult for him to find a girlfriend than ordinary people. Don't get me wrong. I just went to Hangzhou for business and he hitched a ride. Cheng Lingsu said. I thought he was caught again. Officer Lu, you are so nice. Do you treat every prisoner so well? You let him hitch a ride for such a long distance. Jiang Xiu said. Officer Lu, what do you want to eat? I'll get it for you. The restaurant in the rest area was a fast food restaurant. Lu Chunchun could see that Jiang Xiu didn't want to talk more with Cheng Lingsu. Seeing his ex-wife with another man, he must be very uncomfortable in his heart. Whatever. I'm not picky. Jiang Xiu responded and limped away. When he passed by Cheng Lingsu said, You are very gentlemanly. Do you have enough money in your pocket to treat a girl to a meal? How much do I give you a day now? 50 or 100? Right, of course, you have to be willing to spend money to pick up girls. What I'm afraid of is that it'll all be for naught in the end. Jiang Xiu said, So be it. It's better than feeding it to the dogs. Cheng Lingsu was so angry that her pretty face turned pale. Jiang Xiu, don't be ungrateful. I'm just reminding you out of kindness. How many people are chasing after such a beautiful policewoman? Do you think it's your turn? This meant that he felt that Jiang Xiu was not worthy of her. Jiang Xiu ignored her and limped away. He ordered a few simple dishes and brought them back. Lu Chunchun put her hands in her trouser pockets, crossed her legs, and straightened her back. She looked very cool. Jiang Xiu took the dishes and said, Let's eat. Lu Chunchun thanked him, then picked up her chopsticks and started eating. Not far away, Cheng Lingsu's face was very ugly. She dropped her chopsticks and stopped eating. She stood up and said, Jiang Xiu, who are you trying to disgust? Who are you trying to show? You're a cripple and you want to chase her. Please look in the mirror. You're arrogant when you're successful, but you're a pile of mud when you're frustrated. No one will like a selfish person like you. Then she left angrily. Yi Wenchen said, Officer Lu, I'll see you at the exchange meeting. Then he followed Cheng Lingsu. When Jiang Xiu went to get food, they chatted. Coincidentally, there was a martial arts exchange meeting between the All Gods Corporation and the police system. They would all participate. Lu Chunchun nodded slightly and turned to look at Jiang Xiu. Jiang Xiu was eating. She said, Are you okay? Don't take it to heart. Jiang Xiu said, She's right. Lu Chunchun said, I'm curious about something. Were you very powerful before? She had investigated Jiang Xiu's information and couldn't find anything special about him. However, someone in the bureau said that Jiang Xiu used to be very powerful and seemed to be very secretive. When she asked again, that senior wouldn't say anything. She didn't know that Jiang Xiu had another name, Jiang Luoxia. Jiang Xiu said. So you don't know my past? Lu Chunchun said, tell me. Jiang Xiu said, I used to be very rich. Lu Chunchun said, how rich? A financial tycoon, a real estate tycoon, or an IT magnate, with tens of billions of assets? Jiang Xiu said, half of Jiangnan is mine. Lu Chunchun giggled. Half of Jiangnan is yours. Did you see a herd of cows flying in the sky? Jiang Xiu laughed. You'll believe it soon. After returning to Hangzhou, Lu Chunchun wanted to send Jiang Xiu to his place, but Jiang Xiu refused. After the two of them said goodbye, Jiang Xiu took out his phone and called Wang Xintong. Wang Xintong said, tonight? Yes. The core forces of Heavenly Biotech are all here. They're all old people from Bodhi Biotech. They've done it before and are familiar with it. Wang Xintong's voice was a little excited. Okay. When the news of Jiang Xiu's death came, the first to rebel were the old forces of the Wang family, led by old Madame Wang. Although Wang Xintong and her father had controlled the Wang family for a long time and absorbed a lot of new forces, after losing Jiang Xiu, they had no chance of winning. Even if they did, it would be a Pyrrhic victory. Wang Xintong handed over the gun without much resistance. If Jiang Xiu wanted to deal with them, he would start with the Wang family. It was early evening, and the sky was drizzling, making the whole sky look hazy. The lights on the roadside shone, and the visibility in the distance became very low. In this kind of weather, it was easy for cars to scratch each other, and then cause traffic jams. The people behind them honked from time to time, and the city became very irritated. At night, the rain became heavier, and the whole city was shrouded in a heavy rain. The former Jiangyuan was now rebranded as the Wang family. It was as if the appearance of Jiangyuan was just a coincidence. A car stopped by the roadside. The driver was Chengling Su. Yi Wenchen, who was beside her, said, Su, your strength really surprised me. You won 7 rounds in a row. The people in the police department were stunned by your victory. The district chief was so excited that he was incoherent. The corporation will definitely train you vigorously in the future. You can expect to become a high-level warlord, or even a demigod. You can become a high-class warrior. Yi Wenchen noticed that Chengling Su was not as excited as he had imagined. She was looking at the garden in front of her in a daze. The garden was brightly lit, but because they were too far away, they did not see it. A group of people wearing raincoats and holding murder weapons appeared in all directions of the garden. They killed anyone they saw. A terrifying bolt of lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the wonders of the entire distant mountain. A man with a green face and fangs walked in. He said softly, "Leave no one alive." The people of the Wang family also came out in a line. Who dares to break into the Wang family? Beside the scary man with a green face and fangs was a beautiful woman who was also wearing a raincoat. When he saw the woman's face clearly, the elder of the Wang family, Wang Xueli, turned pale with fright. "It's you, Wang Xintong. How dare you rebel? Do you think that you can shake the Wang family with the people under you?" The beautiful woman smiled faintly. "How would I know if I don't try?" Blood splattered everywhere the knife flashed. The people of the Wang family fell into a pool of blood in the face of the killers in raincoats. They could not even block one move. How is it? The killers in raincoats came from all directions like a tide, killing anyone they saw. Their knives were fast and traceless, and blood splattered everywhere. In an instant, the courtyard was full of corpses. How is this possible? Wang Xueli was shocked. These were the people of the Wang family. How could they not even block one move? Who were these people? Second granduncle, haven't you been asking me where the core power of Mr. Zhang's Skyline Biology Group is? These are them. Boom. A bolt of lightning flashed and lit up the sky. What they saw was a knife cutting open the throat of the middle-aged man of the Wang family. Yi Wenchen saw that Chengling Su was obsessed with the garden. He could not help but ask, Su, what are you looking at? What's wrong with this house? Chengling Su's fluttering eyelashes lowered. She said, I used to live here. Yi Wenchen was stunned. His heart trembled. So this was the place where Jiang Luoxia used to live in Jiangnan. It was so magnificent and solemn that it was like a palace. Jiang Xiu was like a mountain pressing down on his heart. How rich do you think he used to be? This he was undoubtedly referring to Jiang Xiu. Cheng Lingsu kept mentioning Jiang Xiu. Yu Wenchen was a little unhappy. He could not help but say, Su, don't tell me you still can't let go of him? How is that possible? Cheng Lingsu said, I've never liked him. I like his wealth and power. Her mind was filled with bits and pieces of the past that had happened in this garden. If you say I can't let go, it's the glory and wealth he gave me. Her eyes were full of sadness. In the past, Jiang Xiu was known as the most powerful person in China. From the Jiangnan frontier to the rich and powerful, no one disobeyed him. It could be said that he was at the peak of glory. He was like the king of Jiangnan. It was really difficult for people to reach him. She started the car and turned around to leave. Chapter 356. A disciple was rushing towards the door of immortal ascension in the heavy rain. He screamed in terror as he accidentally tripped on the doorframe. He scrambled to get up. Oh no. Wang Xintong, that traitor, brought her people in. Old Mistress Wang, who had survived under Jiang Xiu's hands, was sitting high up in the seat of honor. Her face darkened when she heard what he said. What did you say? Wang Xintong brought her people in? She has the guts? Wang Xintong could rise because she was Mr. Jiang's spokesperson. Now that Mr. Jiang was dead, his power and wealth had been divided up. Wang Xintong had no power to fight against them. If it weren't for Wang Xintong's reputation as Jiang Xiu's spokesperson, and the fact that the Wang family had become stronger than before, old Madame Wang had no choice but to spare her family's lives. Now that she dared to rebel, wasn't she giving herself a chance to kill her? As they spoke, a few elders from before rushed over. Old Madam, something happened outside. Good, very good. I was just worried that I couldn't find a reason to get rid of the father and daughter. Old Madame Wang was surprised. What gives that damned girl the confidence to go against us? She quickly walked to the door and looked out. A black mass of killers was already rushing towards them. It's the core power of the heavenly creatures left behind by Jiang Luoxia. As far as the eye could see, those people were killing quickly and ruthlessly. They moved quickly, not saying a single word, but cooperating with each other. Under their encirclement, they couldn't even escape even if they wanted to. It was as if they were a group of machines that were born to kill. As if they were cutting grass, they cut down the lives of the Wang clan's disciples one by one, causing everyone to feel a chill in their hearts. What a terrifying group of killers. It was obvious that this wasn't the first time they had done this. Stop. A few elders from the Wang family rushed down from the sky. If they didn't do anything, the Wang family members would probably all be killed. The Wang family was a martial arts family. After the world changed, 8 out of 10 people in the family were God discoverers. These elders' power had increased by leaps and bounds. Boom. An elder of the Wang family threw out a punch, and the rainwater in front of him was violently swept up by the wind generated by his fist, turning into a reverse vortex that blasted towards several assassins in raincoats in the distance. The rainwater splashed out with such force that when it hit the wooden pillar at the far end, it left a deep dent. Bang! One of the assassins flew back and spat out a mouthful of blood. He had actually died from a single punch. Demigod? The crowd of assassins reacted immediately, forming a 10-man team to hunt. Demigods were not as rare as they used to be. Most of the transcendent grandmasters had reached the transcendent state, and most of the divine awakeners were as powerful as demigods. There were even a few cases of divine awakening, so it was not surprising that there were demigods in the Wang family. B*TCH. An angry rebuke came from the stone mountain. Old Madame Wang leaned on her walking stick and looked down coldly. Beside her, there was a servant holding an umbrella for her. Wang Xintong, who was wearing a raincoat, looked up. At this moment, her face was covered with rain, but there was only a relaxed smile on her lips. Old Madam, the B*TCH is here to collect her debt from you. Who do you think you are? Old Madame Wang took a step forward. She had been in charge of the Wang family for many years, and was the most powerful fighter in the Wang family. Your subordinates can only kill small fries. Do you think you can defeat a demigod? You are too naive. Didn't Jiang Luoxia teach you anything? Even if he didn't, Jiang Luoxia had single-handedly suppressed the entire Wang family. Was that not enough to wake you up? No matter how many people you have, how powerful you are, and how much training you have put in, it will all be in vain before a demigod. Wang Xintong said. Indeed. Since you know it, then be a good girl and die. Wang Xintong's lips curled into a charming smile. Old madam, do you think the B*TCH is so stupid? She knows it is not a small matter, but she still brought Mr. Zhang's remaining forces to collect her debt. Huh? What do you mean? The terrifying man with the green, fanged mask standing next to Wang Xintong moved. In an instant, the rain poured down, and the dense lotus leaves on the surface of the pond swayed like waves. The wind howled, and suddenly, a blade of light flashed from where he was standing. The Wang family elder, who was killing in the air, saw the blade of light in front of him as he swung his fist. The falling rain was sliced open, and a vacuum appeared. The blade of light pushed forward. It seemed slow, but in the next second, his entire body exploded, and blood splattered everywhere. Who are you? Old Madame Wang screamed in horror. Wang Xuezheng was a demigod, and this person had killed him in an instant. Scary, too scary. Who are you? All the Wang family elders retreated in horror. This earth-shattering aura, this killing move, and that green fanged mask made them tremble. The man slowly reached out and took off his mask. It was a young, handsome face. It's you. Everyone in the Wang family cried out. How is this possible? The young man's face was as resolute as marble, and his eyes were as deep as the abyss. He said, It's been a long time, old Madame Wang. I was kind enough to spare your life and let you enjoy your old age. I didn't expect you to not cherish this opportunity. You. Old Madame Wang looked as if she had seen a ghost, and her eyes were about to fall out. Your leg. Of course, she knew about Jiang Xiu's return, but she also knew that Jiang Xiu's cultivation was gone, and he was crippled. But now, how was he crippled? Jiang Luoxia, you're despicable. Despicable? Jiang Xiu shook his head and sneered. You think too highly of yourself. In my eyes, you're just an ant. There's no need for me to play tricks with you. As he spoke, Jiang Xiu swarmed over. The stone mountain was more than 20 meters high, and he climbed up in an instant. No, Mr. Jiang, give the Wang family another chance, Jiang Xiu said. There's no one else. To be able to give me a chance is a heavenly grace. There can't be any more. He pointed his finger, and the power of the entire sky was concentrated on it. Boom. The finger, which weighed more than 500 kilograms, hit old Madame Wang's glabella. Then, a strong light forcefully poured in, and there was a faint sound of thunder. There was white mist at the tip of his finger, and the king of cloud rings scattered in all directions. Old Madame Wang was bleeding from her ears and nose at the same time. Her face was ferocious, and she was instantly as pale as a ghost. Her body stiffened, and she was dead. Buddha Cloudfinger. The taste of dying from the explosion of divine essence should be pretty good. He withdrew his hand. Jiang Luoxia's reputation spread far and wide. Now the return of the king was even more terrifying. The faces of the Wang family's elders changed greatly. How could they dare to hate or resist? Putong, they all kneeled down. Mr. Jiang, please spare my life. Mr. Jiang, please spare my life. We won't dare to be rash anymore. We'll wholeheartedly sacrifice our lives for Mr. Jiang. Jiang Xiu put the ferocious-looking mask back on his face. He was like a demon in the night, and he softly spat out a word that made people's hearts tremble. Kill. 2 trucks of corpses were sent out of Night River Garden, and the number of corpses was no less than 100. The Wang family's power was completely eliminated, and Wang Xintong regained control of the Wang family. How long will it take for you to finish cleaning up the Wang family? 1 or 2 days. Wang Xintong looked at Jiang Xiu's back. His shadow was very long because of the light. Although my dad and I have been pushed out, the operation of the Wang family's assets hasn't changed. The stubborn old lady doesn't understand at all. She just changed my people and let them return to their positions so that they can return to normal. However, I'm afraid that doing this will attract the Zhuge family's attention. Jiang Xiu said. The Zhuge family? Wang Xintong said. Previously, our power and wealth had basically fallen into the hands of the Zhuge family. Zhuge Shi is now at the Jiangnan frontier, and he has the sword palace of Shishu behind him. The Zhuge family is an official family, and they don't participate in the underground forces. Therefore, the foreign Pantheon Biological Corporation has moved into Jiangnan. Of course, there are other forces as well. In this aspect, it's much more chaotic than when you unified Jiangnan. Everyone is more supportive of the Zhuge family. Of course, the internal strife of Jiangnan's underground forces is also related to the changes in the world. More and more powerful people are emerging, and there are many cases of people becoming gods in many biological corporations. I'm afraid it won't be so easy for us to reclaim the old mountains and rivers. We have to plan slowly. Wang Xintong didn't want Jiang Xiu to disappear for another 1.5 years. Plan slowly? Haha. Jiang Xiu looked at Jiang Nan. In Jiang Luoxia's eyes, there's only the king of the world. Chapter 357. On the afternoon of the second day, the phone in the provincial number 1 courtyard rang. In the past, the owner of this courtyard was surnamed Gu, but now it was Fu Zhuge. The secretary picked up the phone and quietly listened to the report. The entire courtyard was solemn. Anyone who stepped into this place would feel a sense of pressure. After hanging up the phone, he arrived behind a man whose temples were a bit white, but his face was resolute, steady and powerful. His voice was moderate, and his words were as concise as possible. Reporting to Zhuge Provincial Secretary, something has happened to the Wang family. Right now, the Wang family's old lady and a group of elders have all disappeared. Wang Xintong has come out to take over the Wang family again. The transition was very fast, and there was no conflict during this period. They should have been prepared. After saying that, he did not say anything else and quietly waited for the other party's instructions. Zhuge Shi muttered, "Tell me who could have done it." The secretary said, "It's hard to say." Zhuge Shi said, "Jiang Luo Xia, Jiang Luoxia. Isn't he already dead?" Zhuge Shi shook his head and said, "Your news is too late. Jiang Luoxia is not dead. He has already returned to his home in Jiangnan for a few days. However, his cultivation is gone and his leg is lame. He is like a pile of mud." The secretary said, "Since Jiang Luoxia is already crippled, his cultivation is gone, and he is even lame, why would the provincial secretary still suspect him?" Zhuge Shi walked to the potted plant and picked up the scissors on the table. He cut the plants in front of him and said, "Wang Xintong has taken over the Wang family again. No matter how you look at it, there is a shadow of Jiang Luoxia. His cultivation is gone and his leg is lame. It is still too early to say if he is really crippled." The secretary said, "The provincial secretary said that Jiang Luoxia is pretending. This does not seem to be Jiang Luoxia's character. If you want to know, it's easy. Send an invitation to Jiang Luoxia in my name. Didn't the major biological groups have an exchange meeting with the military and police system recently? Just say that they want to invite him to be a judge." Zhuge Shi carefully observed his potted plants. They were very meticulous and were meticulously taken care of by him. After all, he used to be the strongest person in China. Even if his cultivation is gone, his eyesight is still there. He deserves to be a judge. He also brings popularity to our Jiangnan region. The secretary said, "Yes, I'll do it immediately. Remember, hand the invitation to Wang Xintong." After the secretary left, Zhuge Shi slowly put down the scissors in his hand. "It's fine if you don't cause any trouble, but you still dare to show off. You're courting death." The benefits that the Zhuge family had obtained in Jiangnan were too frightening. Before he took over, he didn't even dare to imagine that half of Jiangnan belonged to Jiang Luoxia. He thought that it was an exaggeration, but after he took over, he realized that it wasn't an exaggeration. In front of such wealth and power, even if he was the provincial secretary of Jiangnan, he still had to violate the rules and step over the line. Only when Jiang Xiu was completely dead would he be at ease. Tell the Sword Palace that Jiang Luoxia is back. In Jiangyuan, Wang Xintong had hired some people to repair the manor. The killing last night had damaged many things. In addition, It also needed to be renovated. She even specially found a famous feng shui master to look at the layout. Although this was the former residence of the emperor, and there must have been a top feng shui master in the past, the feng shui would slowly change with time. Hundreds of years had passed, and this place had changed owners several times. Wang Xintong still hoped to change the feng shui of this place. President Wang, the provincial government sent an invitation. Wang Xintong took the invitation in surprise. She was a little nervous. She was wondering if this invitation was sent to old Madame Wang or her. When she opened it, her eyes suddenly widened. She guessed wrong. The invitation was sent to Jiang Xiu. This meant that Zhuge Shi already knew about what happened in Jiangyuan yesterday. Wang Xintong picked up the phone and called Jiang Xiu. Jiang Xiu's phone was busy. Spiritual Cultivation was talking to Cheng Lingran. Cheng Lingran's voice was as pleasant as jade beads falling on a plate. How's the enrollment on your side? She deliberately waited until the afternoon to call. After a whole morning, she thought that Jiang Xiu should be almost done with the matter, so she called to ask about the situation. Little did she know that Spiritual Cultivation did not go at all. They had long forgotten about this matter. However, they said, "It's done." Cheng Lingran said happily, "Really?" She was still quite worried that Jiang Xiu would be troubled. Although Jiangnan University was not as big as the capital, it was still one of the top universities in China. Now that the world had changed, the materials they used had also changed greatly. They had made an exception to recruit spiritual cultivators, and the Cultural Studies department was ranked second. Moreover, Jiang Xiu had taken more than a year off from school. The possibility of him being rejected was still very high. Congratulations, you've gloriously become a student of Jiangnan University. We're schoolmates again. Cheng Lingran's mood was as bright as the sun. She had also transferred from Capital University to Jiangnan University. In her mind, she recalled the time when Jiang Xiu had taken her to the snack bar on his bicycle in Imperial Capital University. She had been young, full of campus atmosphere and beautiful memories. "Sister, did you miss me?" Hearing Jiang Xiu's gentle voice, Cheng Lingran's heart was slightly touched. She was a little scared, but also a little sweet. She said timidly, "Yes." Jiang Xiu said, "I can't hear you. I miss you." Who misses who? Cheng Lingran looked around. She had taken the time to come out for lunch. Seeing that no one was paying attention, she covered the phone and boldly raised her voice a little. Cheng Lingran misses Jiang Xiu. The afternoon sun in spring was so comfortable. She went back home yesterday and dug out all the old photos. Those were the photos of her and Jiang Xiu that had been sealed. From Jiang Xiu's appearance in the swaddling clothes when she curiously stuck her head out to see the baby, to the photos of the two of them at Capital University. She didn't expect that the wheel of fate would eventually push her into the arms of this man who used to be like a younger brother. "When are you coming back?" "I'll go back later. I'll go to your place tonight." Cheng Lingran's cheeks suddenly turned red. She looked around like a thief, feeling that she had been overheard. "No, you have to go home even if you come back." "Then I won't go back." Cheng Lingran said, "If you don't come back, do you want to be wild outside? It's expensive to eat and live outside. You'd better come back. We'll talk about it when you come back. But if you come back, we may go to Hangzhou." "You're coming? About the group?" Cheng Lingran said. "No, you may not like to hear it. Su is doing well in the All Gods group. It seems that she got a good result in the competition. I heard that she entered the final round. Our whole family has to go and cheer for her." She didn't want to mention how good Su was in front of Jiang Xiu. She knew that it was a blow to Jiang Xiu. But since Jiang Xiu took the initiative to ask, she could not say it. Jiang Xiu said, "Then I'll wait for you in Hangzhou." No, I can't come out to meet you even if I go there. Be good. You come back first. When I come back from Hangzhou, I'll accompany you," Cheng Lingran said softly. She was afraid that Jiang Xiu would feel neglected. "Okay." After chatting on the phone for a long time, Wang Xintong finally called. Her voice was a bit hurried. "Zhuge Shi knows what happened to the Wang family yesterday. He also sent you an invitation to be a judge. He probably wants to know your background. Do you want to go or not?" Jiang Xiu's eyes turned cold. Do you want to know if I'm really disabled or pretending? If you know that I'm pretending, can your Zhuge family bear the consequences of knowing the truth? Of course I'll go. The news spread quickly in Jiangnan's upper-class society. Jiang Luoxia didn't die, but his cultivation was crippled and he became a cripple. He was hired by Jiangnan to be a judge for the Shunxian martial arts exchange held by the major biological groups and the military and police. The former strongest man in Hua Nation had survived a nuclear bomb, but now he had become a cripple. For a moment, the upper class of Jiangnan was in an uproar. There were those who felt pity, those who lamented, and those who took pleasure in his misfortune. At the same time, in the land of Western Shu, in the Sword Palace, there were continuous mountains and ethereal qi. An old man walked lightly up the mountain and shouted to the immortal in the sky who was flying through the clouds on his sword. Old ancestor, Jiangnan sent a letter. Jiang Luoxia has returned. The immortal turned around. What did you say? Jiang Luoxia is back. Yes. The immortal flew toward the south. The old man shouted. Ancestor, where are you going? Jiangnan. The old man was stunned. The ancestor flew to Jiangnan on a flying sword just like that. Chapter 358. This conference was limited to Jiangnan. After the world changed, biological groups sprung up like bamboo shoots after the rain, absorbing spiritualists and nurturing them into their own forces. The leading biological group in Jiangnan was Pantheon Creatures. Jiang Xiu was no stranger to Pantheon Creatures. Back in Harbin, members of Pantheon Creatures had tried to steal Jiang Xiu's food, and he had even kicked a team leader to death. Other than that, there were many other biological groups, such as Preteen Creatures and Aries Creatures. Hua Nation was vast, but it didn't have a monopoly. It could only be said that certain biological groups developed better in certain areas. For example, Pantheon Creatures was doing well in the south, but they couldn't keep up in the north. Preteen Creatures were strong in the north, but they didn't develop well in Jiangnan. This was also related to the difference in culture. Of course, the big cities would always be the main battleground for these biological groups to compete for talents. The official purpose of holding such conferences was to increase their strength to deal with the growing exotic beasts. Some people wanted to use this to strengthen the reputation of the biological groups, and at the same time, to find some useful talents for their own use. Jiang Xiu asked, "What about our skyline creatures? Did they participate?" Wang Xintong said, "No. After my finances were taken away, I couldn't give out any money. Slowly, everyone left. There aren't many left, and I don't have the funds to support them." There was a saying, although cliché, that was true. Money wasn't everything, but it was impossible without money. Even if the emperor could not pay them, no one would be willing to be a rank 1 official. Even if the emperor could not pay them, no one would want to be a rank 1 official. The people who had learned all their skills and sold them to the emperor were also doing it for money and status. This was a very realistic problem. Those who were recruited into the biological group were the Long family, the Gu family, and the Lin family. They had their own factions to begin with, and with Jiang Xiu in trouble, it was normal for them to return. Jiang Xiu didn't mind. The core strength of Skyline Creatures was the group of people left behind by Bodhi Biogenetics. They were the elites of the elites. Bodhi Biogenetics had gone into hiding for 60 years, and he had searched the entire country to find the best of the best. Naturally, these biological groups couldn't compare to them. Jiang Xiu asked, "Reorganize them. Follow the management and training method I gave you before." Yes. Jiang Xiu's training system was simplified from the Tianqing school. The conditions here were far inferior to the immortal martial continent. There were no formations left behind by the ancestors, no forbidden areas, no natural wonders to aid in cultivation, and no all-encompassing secret arts passed down through the generations in the Tianqing school. However, this was already far superior to the training methods that other biological organizations were still exploring. By the way, Wang Xintong smiled and said, "There was a group of people who were quite interesting. They said that they had met you in Harbin before. They were tour guides. 3 of them came over to seek shelter. At that time, you were already in trouble, but they insisted on staying. I only gave them a salary of 3,000 yuan a month, and they didn't leave. Tour guide Chen? Jiang Xiu had a deep impression of this person. Yes, her surname is Chen. Her name is Chen Chuan. Jiang Xiu nodded. That person was a fastidious person, and could be considered a rare kind-hearted person. Jiang Xiu didn't like this kind of person because he wasn't one himself. He even felt a little inferior when facing such a person. However, if he had to choose, he would still choose such a person to buy his life for. He took out a small bottle and handed it to Wang Xintong. This is the elixir that I refined. Each person will get 1/10 of one elixir as a reward for the current members of the biological organization. This elixir is enough to increase their strength by a level or even higher. It depends on the individual's physique. Don't take too much, or you will die. The spiritual power in this elixir was too strong. It wasn't something that ordinary people could bear. Wang Xintong's eyes lit up. It's so powerful. Can it be mass-produced? What a joke! These elixirs required spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits, as well as a unique elixir recipe, and were refined by him, a top alchemist. None of these conditions could be missing. Mass production? He couldn't refine any more. The spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits on the immortal land mountain had all been collected and consumed by him. It would take hundreds or thousands of years for them to grow again. Jiang Xiu shook his head. Count those 3 people in. Wang Xintong nodded and carefully put away the small bottle. The biological organizations could be divided into the first, second, and third tiers. The rest were the biological organizations that weren't in the mainstream. Take the first-tier organizations as an example. The Pantheon biological organizations, the Preqin biological organizations, and the Nuwa biological organizations were all first-tier organizations. There were also some quasi-first-tier organizations. The so-called quasi-first-tier organizations didn't know if there were any gods in the organization. These biological organizations were powerful, had a large number of people, and had amazing financial resources. It could be foreseen that the world would be dominated by these biological organizations in the future. As for the heavenly biological organizations, their biggest advantage was, of course, Jiang Xiu. The second was the people that Li Puti left behind. There were many of them, and they were all carefully selected. They were the elites of the elites. With Jiang Xiu's elixirs, a large number of high-level warlords and even demigods would emerge. Their power was expected. They wouldn't show their faces, but once they showed their strength, they would definitely shock the world. Jiang Xiu only gave them some low-level elixirs. He didn't even give them a book of immortal martial arts. It could be seen that he didn't care about these things. Earth was very much what he wanted. His ambition wasn't here. After being accidentally killed in the explosion, it was a blessing in disguise that he became a mid-god. Next, he would break through to become a high-level deity. A second divine sigil appeared on his body. It was only one divine sigil. He had studied it before, and it was even more confusing than the first one. However, he could be sure that this divine sigil was related to fire. It was also the main reason why he could become a mid-god. A single stroke of the divine sigil allowed him to become a mid-god. This power was something that even the experienced and knowledgeable spiritual cultivation had never heard of. The power of the divine sigil was expected when it was formed. At the same time, it made him feel like breaking down. He didn't know how many strokes this divine sigil had. If it was like the first sound of heaven and earth, it would be too long. He also knew that there was a way to increase his power. He had 6 longevity stone talismans, and he only had 5 of them. He only needed one more to complete it. If he could get that one, he would have 6 longevity stone talismans. His power would definitely increase greatly. He just didn't know where the last longevity stone was. In the evening, Jiang Xiu received a message from Cheng Lingran. Shi Chenghanlin and Sun Xiaohong had arrived in Hangzhou City. They were staying in a 5-star hotel not far from the Pantheon building. It was also a hotel that used to be under the name of the Jinjin Group. Pantheon creatures had developed so much in Jiangnan. Coupled with their close relationship with the Jinjin Group, it was not difficult to guess that they had a close relationship with the Zhuge family. Jiang Xiu, I'm going to look for you? Cheng Ling ran. Why would you look for me? I just want to tell you that I'm safe. My parents are here. She had a guilty conscience. According to the relationship between the two families, there was nothing wrong with Jiang Xiu going to see her. Of course, the relationship between the two families was a little tense now. After Jiang Xiu and Cheng Lingsu divorced, no one knew where the relationship between the two families would go. Jiang Xiu. Then come out to see me? Cheng Ling ran. We'll talk about it later. Cheng Lingran did not tell him that Su Su's friend had invited them to dinner. This friend was none other than Yi Wenchen. This person was very decent and had an extraordinary temperament. He was very polite and had the demeanor of a noble. Of course, not only Cheng Lingsu's family, but also the elders of Ouyang Qian and Li Dan's families. Su Su, do your best in the finals and win the first place. Ouyang Qian was very confident in her best friend. I'll be satisfied if I can get into the top 10. In Cheng Lingsu's mind, the lowest ranking was the top 10. The top 10 from the All Beings group would receive a high-level martial arts book, the qualification to further their studies, and even the opportunity to enter the hunting ground. Su Su, I can see that you're much more powerful than this, Yi Wenchen said with a smile. Cheng Lingsu did not move. If possible, who wouldn't want to get the first place? The reward for the first place is fatal. I think my opponents will also do their best, even if it means risking their lives to fight for it. The glory of the first place is amazing, but what exactly is the reward? Yi Wenchen and the others looked at each other. Looking at these elders who were just ordinary people, they shook their heads helplessly, and even somewhat disdainfully. This was the difference between divinity discoverers and ordinary people. Demigod martial arts technique. Sun Xiaohong said. What's a demigod martial arts technique? Yi Wenchen said. It can greatly increase the combat power of a divinity. The increase is far beyond the limit of ordinary martial arts, about 10 times. Chapter 359. The reason why the major biological organizations were able to attract deities was not only because of their treatment, but also because of their martial arts. It was not too difficult for a deity to write a demigod-level martial arts manual. However, demigod-level martial arts manuals were priceless treasures for deities below the level of demigod. A set of demigod-level martial arts manuals could increase a person's martial arts power tenfold. A tenfold difference was enough to kill someone of the same level. When Gu Dikang had asked for help, Jiang Xiu had written a set of demigod-level martial arts manuals. The simplified version of Bursting Flame Fist was enough to increase a person's martial arts power tenfold. After Jiang Xiu's accident, although the Gu family was no longer valued by the Dao Yutai, Gu Dikang still retained his position in the military. The reason was that he had mastered a set of demigod-level martial arts manuals. Pantheon creatures had given a set of demigod-level martial arts manuals as the prize for winning the competition. It was really generous. The few demigod-level members present all yearned for a set of demigod-level martial arts manuals. It was a set of martial arts manuals that could change one's fate. In the face of such a huge temptation, no one believed that Cheng Lingsu would not be moved. It was just that she was reserved and did not want to express herself. In their opinion, Cheng Lingsu still had a lot of hope. Yi Wenchen said, "One must always have a dream. What if it comes true?" Cheng Lingsu smiled and did not answer. Ouyang Qian said, "I heard a rumor that there will be a mysterious judge in the finals. I don't know if it will affect the results. Sometimes, honor could make people paranoid. Just like in the past, there were many people who took drugs and bribed the judges. This was human nature." Hearing this, Cheng Lingsu frowned slightly. She was very confident in her own abilities, but she was afraid that there would be underhanded manipulation. Many people from poor families could not make a name for themselves because the resources were taken by the rich families. The Cheng family, the Ouyang family, the Li family, and Yi Wenchen's family were all considered rich in Rivertown. However, in the entire Jiangnan they were not ranked at all. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were poor. Take Cheng Lingsu as an example. She did not have any connections with the higher-ups. She relied entirely on her own abilities. She even had an even worse identity than the other poor children. She was Jiang Luoxia's ex-wife. Although not many people knew about it, there were still a lot of people who knew about it. In the past, when she was Jiang Luoxia's wife, she could be said to be successful in every endeavor. Everyone who saw her had to be respectful and reverent. Now it was undoubtedly a heavy burden. She noticed that Cheng Lingran picked up her mobile phone to reply messages from time to time. Although Cheng Lingran had many classmates and friends in Hangzhou, when she thought that Jiang Xiu was also in Hangzhou, she thought that her sister was sending messages to him. She felt inexplicably uncomfortable in her heart. Since she had divorced him, she thought that her sister should also reduce contact with him. It would be better if they broke up directly. In this way, she would be a good sister who supported her younger sister. Sis, who are you talking to? Cheng Lingran hurriedly covered her mobile phone on her thigh and said, to a friend. He heard that I came to Hangzhou and wants to ask me out to play. Her heart was beating fast. She felt a little like a thief who had been caught. She was so nervous that her pretty face turned red. Cheng Hanlin interrupted and said, Rangran, you have been working so hard these days. You should relax. It's good for you to go out and play. Thank you, Dad. Cheng Lingran took the initiative to finalize the matter before her sister spoke. She also glanced at Su proudly. Then she immediately stuffed her mobile phone into her bag and was about to leave. Where are you going? I'll give you a ride. Cheng Lingsu was worried that her sister would go to see Jiang Xiu. No, I'll just take a taxi. You are the protagonist today. How can I let you send me? Bye-bye. Seeing Cheng Lingran leave, Ouyang Qian's mother sighed sincerely and said, You two are so lucky. Each of your daughters is more beautiful than the other. They are also so capable. I heard that your daughter is known as the most beautiful woman in the business circle of Jiang City. The young masters outside can line up from the CBD to the riverside. Ha ha ha. Sun Xiaohong laughed from ear to ear. It's not as exaggerated as you say. She was not worried about her elder daughter at all. She was sensible and considerate. She was worried about her younger daughter. She had high standards, high aspirations, and competitive. It was fine if Yuning was not married, but now she was a divorced woman. Moreover, her previous husband was Jiang Luoxia. If Jiang Xiu had not met with an accident, no one would dare to say that she was the first lady of Jiangnan. It was too difficult to find such a high starting point. Looking out of the hotel window, they could see the road. Cheng Lingsu saw her sister talking on the phone while reaching out to stop a taxi. Her eyes showed that she was pondering. She remembered that when they were young, the three of them were almost inseparable. They had a deep relationship with each other. However, people would always grow up. Sister, people like Jiang Xiu are not worth sympathizing with. Under the night sky, Hangzhou was very noisy. Cheng Lingran had been staring out of the car window. She saw a young man leaning against the flower bed with his head half lowered. He did not say a word and stared at the road foolishly. He was very lonely. Driver, stop here. After Cheng Lingran got out of the car, she walked to Jiang Xiu. She could feel Jiang Xiu's loneliness. In such a big Hangzhou, everyone was busy, either for their career or meeting their friends. However, he was alone. He had neither career nor friends. He could only wait here alone. He was now in need of comfort, but she neglected him. A sense of guilt came to her heart. She ran to him with her long legs. I'm sorry, I'm late. Jiang Xiu glanced at her and said in a trembling voice, You're here. Cheng Lingran sat down beside him, put her bag on her lap, and said worriedly, What's wrong? What happened? Jiang Xiu shook his head. I just feel lonely. Cheng Lingran felt more and more guilty. She hugged him and said, I'll try to spend more time with you in the future, okay? Hungry, not hungry. I'll take you to dinner. Jiang Xiu whispered in her ear. Do you want to die? Cheng Lingran was angry. She brushed her hair, which was messed up by the night wind, and said, You don't have a place to live here. Don't try to coax me into doing such a shameful thing with you. She wanted to ask for a room, but it was really indecent. Am I such a bastard? Cheng Lingran said, There's no room. She realized that she had said something wrong. Didn't that mean that she agreed with him? She hurriedly covered her face and fell into the trap. But then one of her hands was pulled away by Jiang Xiu. He held her hand and walked forward quickly. Although he was limping, he walked very fast. Cheng Lingran had to trot. They turned the corner into the community. Wang Xintong had a room here. After she lost her power, Jiang Garden naturally had no place to live. She didn't want to live with her parents, so she bought a room here. Whose house is this? I borrowed it from someone. As soon as he entered the door, he pressed Cheng Lingran against the wall. Cheng Lingran punched him in the chest. You're such a bastard. You planned it. Don't you like it? I like it. People passed by downstairs from time to time. Some conversations could be heard, but there were soft and gentle voices in the room. Cheng Lingran's pretty face was as delicate as a begonia. Jiang Xiu was very proud, but he felt inferior when facing Cheng Lingran. He always felt that he hadn't conquered her in that area, so he had to work harder. You're a shameless guy. Jiang Xiu was very proud. Although his methods were a little underhanded, he had conquered Cheng Lingran once again. Moreover, from his performance, it should be more appropriate. What's this? Honey. Cheng Lingran was already a puddle of mud, but her heart was unbearably shy. She looked forward, but her eyes were unfocused. Jiang Xiu saw this expression as the best encouragement. Cheng Lingran was lost. She didn't know what to do. Her body seemed to fly to the sky, light as a feather. Once she fell in love, she would fall forever. After a long time. Sister, I'm hungry. Cheng Lingran opened her misty eyes slightly, revealing a helpless smile. She reached out and tapped Jiang Xiu's nose. I'll let you eat. You're so energetic without eating. You'll be full after eating. If you don't let me eat, then I'll eat you. Cheng Lingran was so scared that her face turned pale. She, who was originally limp and weak, hurriedly ran away and said generously, What do you want to eat? It's my treat. I want to eat barbecue. At this time, almost all the restaurants were closed. Only some midnight snacks and barbecue restaurants were still open. Barbecue? I know a good one, not far from here. When Jiang Xiu held her hand and walked on the road, Cheng Lingran felt that her legs were a little weak. When she finally sat down, her eyes were full of hidden bitterness, and her cheeks were glowing. In the past, Cheng Lingran's beauty was a kind of beauty, otherworldly. Now it was gorgeous and rare. Chapter 360. Jiang Xiu hugged her slender waist and sat side by side in the barbecue restaurant. Cheng Lingran's long black eyelashes fluttered like butterfly wings, and her eyes were a little absent-minded. Seeing her like this, Jiang Xiu knew that she was very confused and couldn't help but blame himself. I'm sorry, I'm too lonely and you're too attractive, so. Cheng Lingran pinched his arm and said, I'm not blaming you and don't make excuses. The house was already borrowed. It was premeditated. Jiang Xiu said, Then you can only blame yourself for being too beautiful. Cheng Lingran's beautiful eyes widened as she said, Xiao Xiu, did you forget your face at home? But in her heart, she was very happy. Any girl liked to be praised, not to mention that they were in this kind of relationship. Coming, the barbecue restaurant's clerk moved quickly. Eat a few more kidneys to nourish yourself. The clerk glanced at Cheng Lingran, and Cheng Lingran couldn't help but blush. She stretched out her foot and kicked Jiang Xiu fiercely. As soon as the clerk left, she immediately pressed down on Jiang Xiu's hand that was holding the skewer, not letting him pick it up. You're not allowed to eat it. If you eat it, you'll still harm me. Jiang Xiu couldn't help but laugh. You're not allowed to laugh. Jiang Xiu said softly. What's wrong with harming my own wife? It's not like I'm harming others. You're not allowed to eat it. Eat mutton skewers. After the two finished eating supper, Jiang Xiu stopped a car to send Cheng Lingran back to the hotel. Cheng Lingran stood at the hotel door and said, It's late. You should go back too. Be careful on the road. Jiang Xiu said, Then call. Suddenly, a voice sounded. Sister. Hearing this voice, Cheng Lingran turned and saw Cheng Lingsu coming out of the hotel. At this moment, Cheng Lingran felt that her heart was about to jump out of her chest. She was so nervous that her hands and feet were cold. Susu, why are you here? Cheng Lingsu looked at Jiang Xiu and said, I saw that you didn't come back, so I waited for you here. She wanted to ask if Cheng Lingran went to see Jiang Xiu. Sure enough, it was as she guessed. Sister, why are you with him? With the relationship between Cheng Lingran and Jiang Xiu, it was normal for the two of them to eat or go out together. However, Cheng Lingran felt guilty. She panicked and said, Susu, listen to me. Don't misunderstand. Oui. Cheng Lingsu said. Jiang Xiu, don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. No wonder you didn't want the house I gave you. It turns out that you had this idea. You think that you can get more just because my sister is soft-hearted? Stop dreaming. Not only will you not get it, but you can also forget about that house. Cheng Lingran said, Susu, minor repairs aren't. Seeing that her sister still wanted to defend Jiang Xiu, she said angrily, Sister, this person is selfish and doesn't deserve your sympathy. Don't see him again in the future. Jiang Xiu said. Cheng Lingsu, what right do you have to interfere with our relationship? Because I'm his sister. After that, she pulled Cheng Lingran and walked into the hotel. She didn't give Jiang Xiu any chance at all. Cheng Lingran looked back at Jiang Xiu helplessly and said 2 words to Jiang Xiu. Phone call. After entering the elevator, Cheng Lingran said, Susu, aren't you going too far? Cheng Lingsu looked from the elevator to the gate. Jiang Xiu was limping out of the hotel and waiting for a car by the roadside. His back looked particularly lonely under the dim street lights. He asked for it. Cheng Lingran said, Susu, don't you think you're not wrong? Wrong. Cheng Lingran said. You divorced Jiang Xiu as soon as he was in trouble. Have you ever considered his feelings? Susu saw that he stopped a taxi and got in. She looked away and said sadly, I didn't ask for a divorce. He went to visit a prostitute and complained first. He put the blame on me as if it was all my fault. Sister, what do you mean? Have you been brainwashed by him? You sound like you're complaining about injustice for him. Cheng Lingran said guiltily. No, I'm just stating facts. Cheng Lingsu's eyes turned into crescent moons as she reached out to grab her sister's arm. She even snuggled into her sister's embrace. Sis, I'm your biological sister. No matter what, you have to stand on my side. Cheng Lingran couldn't help laughing. She touched her sister's face, but her eyes became very complicated. There was confusion, doubt, and some regret. Can you do it? Cheng Lingran said. Sister, of course I support you. Thank you, sister. Cheng Lingran said. Well, I'm back. You can go back. You're chasing me away. I want to sleep with you tonight. Susu followed Cheng Lingran into her bedroom. The environment of the 5-star hotel was very good. You're still young. I'm still young. I haven't been with you for a long time. Cheng Lingran said. Then it's up to you. She muttered in her heart that she couldn't talk to Jiang Xiu on the phone at night. She didn't know that it was already past 12 o'clock. She went into the bathroom and planned to take a shower. She was worried that Jiang Xiu would send a message, so she turned off her phone. Sister. What are you wearing around your neck? Cheng Lingran tugged at the chain. There was a small bead hanging from it. It was the inner cord Jiang Xiu gave her. It was warm in winter and cool in summer. Moreover, there was a formation engraved by Jiang Xiu. Even a demigod might not be able to break through it. There seems to be a strong power inside. Sister, can you let me take a look? Cheng Lingran said. Oh, it's a protective talisman from the temple. Hey, don't touch it. It said that it won't work. Seeing her sister's hand reach out, she quickly dodged. Susu's mouth immediately pouted. She said angrily, You're so stingy. Sister, I feel that this protective talisman isn't simple. The power inside is very strong. It's a treasure that a god needs. Can you give it to me? For you. Since they were young, Cheng Lingran had given her sister whatever she wanted. She was already used to it. However, this protective talisman was given by Jiang Xiu. She only hesitated for a moment before reaching out to take it off and put it on Cheng Lingsu's neck. She reminded her, Don't touch it. It won't work if you touch it. Thank you, sister. Cheng Lingran looked at the bead reluctantly. I'm going to take a shower. Miss Cheng, do you need me to serve you? Don't talk nonsense. Then I'll warm your bed for you first. It's not winter. After Cheng Lingran entered the bathroom, Su Su hooked onto the necklace, wanting to see the inner core structure. It's so magical. I feel so comfortable. What is this? There are words inside. It's a treasure. Cheng Lingran came out after a while. She had bathed at Jiang Xiu's friend's place. However, she had eaten barbecue last night, and the smell was too strong. Seeing that her sister was still awake, she leaned over and the two started chatting. The location of the exchange was set to be at the Jiangnan Police Academy. Early in the morning, there were countless cars driving in. People from the major biological corporations, and the military and police had all rushed over. There were also family members like Cheng Hanlin, Sun Xiaohong, and Cheng Lingran. The school was extremely noisy. There's so many people. Ouyang Qian and the others were excited. Today is the finals. The leaders of the major biological corporations will be here. There are also many young masters and rich people. It's a rare occasion in Jiangnan. A group of people stepped into the arena. This arena cost millions of dollars to build. On the south side was the rostrum. The people sitting on the rostrum would decide their fate. Wasn't there supposed to be a mysterious main judge? Why isn't he here? On the rostrum, representatives from the military, the police, the leaders of the major biological corporations, and the deputy secretary of the Jiangnan province were all sitting in a row. They were all waiting for the competition to start. A black car stopped in front of the school. Jiang Xiu limped out of the car and walked inside. After a few steps, he heard a voice not far away. Jiang Xiu. It was a girl's voice. Jiang Xiu looked over. It was Lu Chunchun. There were a few people beside her who were also wearing police uniforms. Lu Chunchun was dressed very formally today. She wore a lady's police cap, a white suit, and a tie. She was also wearing a light green police pants. There was an indescribable valiance about her. Jiang Xiu thought to himself, what a coincidence. They bumped into each other again. Officer Lu, what a coincidence. Yeah. Why are you here? Are you here to watch the competition too? Chapter 361. Jiang Xiu just smiled but didn't answer. Lu Chunchun said, "You're here to see her, right? It seems that you can't let go of her after all. No wonder such a beautiful girl is so outstanding." Jiang Xiu didn't explain. Lu Chunchun's face was a little apologetic. She said, "I'm sorry. It was my negligence that brought you so much harm." Jiang Xiu frowned and said, "What do you mean?" Lu Chunchun said, "I mean your divorce with your wife has something to do with my simple and crude law enforcement. I apologize to you." Jiang Xiu shook his head. "Even if she can tolerate me for a while, she won't tolerate me for a lifetime. The divorce will happen sooner or later. It has nothing to do with your law enforcement." Lu Chunchun heard him say this, and felt a little better in her heart. Her friend next to her said, "Chunchun, this is?" "Oh, he's from my hometown. His name is Jiang Xiu." Jiang Xiu nodded to them as a greeting. He noticed that Lu Chunchun's friends were paying attention to his feet intentionally or unintentionally. They should be confirming whether he was lame. "Then I'll go first." Lu Chunchun nodded and suddenly remembered. "By the way, do you want to take my ride back?" Jiang Xiu shook his head and said, "No need." However, when Jiang Xiu arrived at the entrance of the stadium, he was stopped. He couldn't enter. He had to have a certificate. Jiang Xiu didn't have one at all. He could have entered with the invitation letter, but the problem was that he didn't bring it. "What's the matter?" Lu Chunchun and the others were also about to enter. "He doesn't have a certificate." Lu Chunchun showed her certificate and then said, "He's my friend. Can I let him in?" The staff shook his head. "No, except for the contestants who can bring their family and friends, no one else can. If friends bring friends, then anyone can enter." Lu Chunchun said to Jiang Xiu, "Do you have a way to get your ex-girlfriend to come out and pick you up?" Jiang Xiu shook his head. "Chunchun, the competition is about to start. Let's go in quickly." A male police officer beside her said. Lu Chunchun said, "You guys go in first. Help me call commandering." "Chunchun, captaining might not be able to come out because of the competition. Why don't we just forget about it and go in? If he can't get in, Let him go home and watch the pay-per-view channel, the male police officer said. Help me call out. If it doesn't work, I'll think of another way. The male police officer glanced at Jiang Xiu and went in with the group of people unhappily. Jiang Xiu said, You don't have to stay and wait for me. You can go with your colleagues. I can find another way. Lu Chunchun said, Stop talking nonsense. Do you think I, Lu Chunchun, am such a disloyal person who would abandon my friends? I'm quite curious about what happened between you and your previous one. Can you tell me about it? It was fatal for a girl to be curious about a boy, but Jiang Xiu didn't think too much about it. Even if he was good-looking, his family was poor, and he had a lame leg. He even had a divorce and was a prostitute. He didn't think that Lu Chunchun would have a good impression of him. It's an old story. Our families have been friends for generations. We were betrothed when we were young. Oh, I see. Then how did you get a lame leg? Lu Chunchun hurriedly explained. I'm not trying to expose the scars. I'm just thinking that there might be a chance to cure it. Jiang Xiu shook his head and didn't say anything. At this time, a tall police officer in his 30s came over with a group of people. Chunchun. Captaining, sorry to trouble you to come. The tall police officer showed his ID to the waiter, and then smoothly brought Jiang Xiu in. Don't be so polite with me. If you need anything, I'll go through fire and water to help you, even if I have to miss the competition. The importance of this exchange meeting was self-evident. It was said that whether it was the military, the police system, or the biological group, they all gave out amazing rewards of demigod martial arts for the first place. In addition to the first place, the first few could also have very generous rewards, enough to change the whole life. If Jiang Xiu guessed correctly, he should be a suitor who could take such a risk for Lu Chunchun and say such words in front of her. Sure enough, Lu Chunchun's pretty face was a little hot. She said, Thank you. Let's go, Jiang Xiu. Come with us to watch the competition. Jiang Xiu came in and wanted to go to the rostrum, but he was pulled away by Lu Chunchun. The first few games are child's play. It's not interesting. The real showdown will come later. However, the first few games have attracted a lot of attention. There's a game outside, Captaining said. Jiang Xiu looked around. Most of the seats in the field were full. There were a lot of people, hundreds of people, close to 1,000. Boy, do you want to bet? If you don't have money, I'll lend you some first. Jiang Xiu shook his head. You don't know how to play. Captaining is guiding you to make a fortune. When captaining goes on stage, he will definitely win. Take the money over there, and you can make a fortune. There's no way to make you rich, but it shouldn't be a problem to make tens of thousands. The one who spoke was the male policeman just now. Look at you. Tens of thousands is not a small amount. Jiang Xiu said. It doesn't count. Then why don't you borrow money from captaining? Jiang Xiu still shook his head. I'm not interested. Captain Ying's face was a little cold. He wanted to be generous in front of Lu Chunchun, but he didn't expect Jiang Xiu to be so uncooperative. He didn't know that spiritual cultivation was arrogant. It was not something that a small captain like him could step on. The game in the field had already begun, but captaining hadn't even prepared yet. He had just said that he was willing to miss the game to help Lu Chunchun pick up people. It was really an exaggeration. It was still early for his game. What's the game based on? Lu Chunchun put her hands in her pockets and sat beside Jiang Xiu. She didn't care about other people's gazes. Oh, it's based on age. There's a group under 30, and another group over 30. The strength of those over 30 is stronger. Jiang Xiu gently shook his head and said, That's not right. Not right. Jiang Xiu said. This has nothing to do with age. The strength of a God-discoverer is related to the order of awakening after the arrival of the alternate world. The earlier one awakens, the stronger they are. What alternate world? What do you mean by awakening earlier? Lu Chunchun was a little confused. Jiang Xiu accidentally spilled the beans. The reason for the changes in heaven and earth was still unknown to scientists and God-level God-discoverers from all over the world. Only he and a few others knew the reason, but he hit the nail on the head. Nonsense. Brat, do you understand or not? The path of martial cultivation requires the accumulation of time. It plays a very important role. Of course, it's divided by age. Look at the other competitions. Which one of them doesn't divide the groups by age? Captain Ing said in a bad mood. Jiang Xiu said, God discoverers are different. The time of awakening is the standard to determine their strength. Kid, do you understand or not? That's right. You're just an ordinary person. Don't you feel embarrassed talking about God discoverers? Jiang Xiu could only shut up. If you don't like it, let's go out and practice. I'll only use one hand. Jiang Xiu's eyes gradually turned cold. You're not qualified. What did you say? Brat, why are you trying to act like a big-tailed wolf here? Do you believe that someone like you can kill him from a meter away? Jiang Xiu snorted disdainfully. Jiang Xiu was brought in by Lu Chunchun. But at this moment, Jiang Xiu said such arrogant words. She was also quite embarrassed. Chunchun, this fellow from your hometown really doesn't know how to behave. He needs to be taught a lesson. I think he retreated because he had a big mouth and asked for a discount. Lu Chunchun said. That's enough. Watch your mouth. Don't listen to what he says if you don't like it. She suddenly changed the topic and pointed to the field. Your old one is coming out. Following her line of sight, they saw Cheng Lingsu slowly walking to the center. The crowd around her cheered enthusiastically. Her momentum was much louder than the others. It was good to be beautiful. She had many more supporters at the same level. She's really proud of Rivertown. She's not even 20 years old. No matter what kind of results she gets this time, Pantheon creatures will definitely cultivate her. Her future is limitless. After saying that, Lu Chunchun looked at Jiang Xiu and sighed helplessly. She felt that Jiang Xiu's self-awareness was right. Cheng Lingsu would be the phoenix of Rivertown. Once given a chance, she would definitely soar to the sky. Chapter 362. Jiang Xiu's expression was indifferent, and he did not comment. His pair of eyes casually looked at the field. On the other side, a short young man of about 1.7 meters walked out. With a slight run-up, he leaped several meters into the air and landed on the field like a flying hero. Just this move alone made many of the audience exclaim in surprise. The body speed and strength of the God's Discoverer were far superior to ordinary people. And the God's Discoverer who had entered the final round was the best among them. His jump was close to 10 meters, which was completely unimaginable before the world changed. At that time, the Olympic long jump was only 9 meters. What was more amazing was that the height of the jump was more than 2 meters. He is a master in the army. There were a large number of martial arts practitioners in the army. After the world changed, these martial arts practitioners improved by leaps and bounds. Many of them stepped into the secret realm and became the so-called general-level soldiers. Iron Fist Jin Yongtai, a man in a military uniform on the rostrum, said indifferently, "This man is one of the few real general-level soldiers in our army. He was born in the Iron Fist school in Huabei. His iron fists have been broken many times. They healed and broke again, as if they had been tempered until they could easily crush stones. Now that he has stepped into the secret realm, his iron fists have also changed." He looked at the commander of Pantheon creatures on the right and said, "Wang Kai, it's not too late for your man to admit defeat. Take the initiative to admit defeat and lose half of it. It's also saving some face, so as not to waste a good seedling." The commander of Pantheon creatures snorted and said, "Cheng Lingsu is young, but her talent is amazing and her progress is rapid. Isn't it too early to be happy that she has won?" On the sidelines, Cheng Hanlin, Sun Xiaohong, Cheng Lingran, and the others were extremely nervous. This was the first time they had seen Cheng Lingran fight against someone. And the opponent was such a tough person. Just thinking about it made their hearts palpitate, especially when they saw Cheng Lingran's worried eyes. She didn't know where to look. She was panicking. She remembered that when she was in school, she participated in a running competition at the school sports meeting. When she was ready to start the race, she was so nervous that her heart was about to jump out of her chest. However, Cheng Lingsu in the field was calm. Cheng Lingran was very proud of her sister in her heart. Her sister's nerves were the opposite of hers. dressed in simple and elegant clothes. She stood in the field without a trace of fireworks. Chung Lingsu's combat strength 10321, over 10,000. Jin Yongtai's combat strength 12872, also over 10,000. Both of them were at the general level. The difference in combat strength is more than 2,000. In the past, the test of combat strength was very accurate. A difference of 2,000 points was basically a sure win. However, with the rapid development of martial arts, some martial arts could instantly erupt with several times the power. Then, the difference of 2,000 points was somewhat not enough. Therefore, the outcome was hard to predict. Please. Lu Chunchun asked Jiang Xiu in a gossipy manner. Do you want her to win or lose? It has nothing to do with me whether she wins or not. Stubborn. In the field, Jin Yongtai's body shot out like a spring. His whole body soared into the air, and he rushed forward with a punch, directly attacking Chung Lingran. The power of this punch was so strong and fast that even the air produced a shrill tearing sound. The air turned into silk threads, and the fist wind swept through. The momentum was very shocking. So strong. Captain Ning couldn't help but frown. He was in the police system, and it was not the same as the military. If this person won the competition, Captain Ning might have to fight with him later. The power of Jin Yongtai's punch has reached 29,831 points. It has doubled. Captain Ning furrowed his brows again. The result of his draw was very good. He was going to fight very late. Before that, he could figure out the strength of his opponent through the instrument, especially the peak combat strength. In that way, he could almost know whether he could win or not. However, Chung Lingran was calm and didn't retreat. She put her hands and feet together and blocked the punch with both hardness and softness. She only felt that her opponent's punch was incredibly heavy, as if it had a huge force. She frowned, and a strong sound wave bounced out between her hands and feet. Then she pushed again. Her movement was as graceful as an immortal, containing a kind of heaven and earth. She blocked it? Everyone present was surprised. Her combat strength has increased by 3,000 points, and the total value has reached 13,287 points. How can she block an attack with twice the value? Her defense should be broken and she should be seriously injured. Lu Chunchun was shocked. She looked at Jiang Xiu. After all, Jiang Xiu was her ex-husband. She hoped that he could reveal some of Chung Lingran's secrets. Jiang Xiu said, Chung Lingsu relies on the awakened power of divinity. There are strange power changes in it, which can't be detected. However, Jin Yongtai's immortal power is not enough. He still relies on force. This is inferior. He actually used words that Lu Chunchun could understand. Chung Lingsu's path was the correct path of spiritual cultivation. She focused on cultivating the spiritual power in her body. Now Jin Yongtai was a martial artist, and his thinking had been fixed. He still followed the previous path of cultivation. The difference between the two was obvious. Susu, good job. Susu's group of relatives and friends, as well as some people from Pantheon creatures, shouted excitedly. However, all roads lead to Rome. Although there were tens of thousands of forms of power, and there were obvious differences in strength, the strength still depended on the person. If Chung Lingsu's spiritual power was not strong enough, she would be defeated by simple and crude physical power. Sister, you're good. That punch just now was just the beginning. Jin Yongtai's fist shadows were like a storm. The sky was full of fist shadows, and they bombarded Chung Lingsu's body. Fists, legs, elbows, and knees were like mercury flowing on the ground. The attack was like a tide. Captain Ning, who had been bragging about how many alliances he had with him, turned pale with fright. According to the instrument, Jin Yongtai's average combat strength is more than 30,000, and the highest value is 37561. Captain Ning said, Say that again? This was more than his highest combat strength by more than 10,000. In the field, whether it was Chung Lingsu or Jin Yongtai's strength, they were far beyond his imagination. If he was in Chung Lingsu's position, he might not be able to block a punch. The police force was originally the weakest force. The military was the national defense force, and of course it was the first to be affected. The biological group was built with a lot of money and had a strong appeal. Only the police force was responsible for maintaining the local government. They were the weakest in terms of status and financial resources, so it was natural that they were the weakest. Cheng Lingsu was very fast. She was so fast that only her beautiful figure could be seen swaying, leaving behind a blurry shadow. She was still elegant and refined, like a dream, but it could be seen that she was struggling to hold on. Some of Cheng Lingsu's basic cultivation methods were taught by the officers of Pantheon creatures. They could be considered her teachers. However, the world changed not long ago. Although her officers were much stronger than her, they were still based on their previous cultivation experience. When it came to cultivation, they were like blind people crossing the river by feeling the stones. They had to rely more on their own understanding. It seems that the winner has been decided. Cheng Lingsu is going to lose. Lu Chunchun looked at Jiang Xiao. She really couldn't see a trace of worry on his face. He was calm and quiet. Logically speaking, Jiang Xiao was abandoned. He was either reluctant or resentful. His calmness was really surprising. On the rostrum, the military officer said, "Wang Kai, you let me win?" Wang Kai frowned and shook his head slightly. He looked quite helpless. Of course, with his eyes he could see that Cheng Lingsu was on the verge of defeat. Although Cheng Lingsu had the strong characteristics of a god's discoverer and some incredible strength, she was still inferior to her opponent in terms of basic strength and speed. It's this moment. You're going to lose. Jin Taiyong's figure suddenly flashed and punched out. His whole body was like a flickering light, passing through Cheng Lingsu's illusory figure and going straight for the middle. Susu. Many people cried out in surprise. Cheng Lingsu's eyes flashed with a trace of panic and even unwillingness. But looking at Jin Taiyong's rushing fist rushing towards her, she was already powerless. His fist was as heavy as a mountain, and it seemed to explode with thunder. The sound waves were shattered layer by layer. Is she going to lose? Boom! The heavy fist fiercely fell on Cheng Lingsu's chest. That was an iron fist that was strong enough to crush stones. If this fist landed, even if Cheng Lingsu didn't die, she would definitely be seriously injured. But just as the heavy fist landed on Cheng Lingsu's body, the formation engraved in the night and in her chest exploded with a loud bang. That was a powerful force that no one present could imagine. Golden light rushed out, the light overpowering the heavens and suppressing the earth. When the light spread out, a fierce wind swept up and spread out in all directions. The stone bricks on the ground were first sent flying. What? Jiang Xiao suddenly stood up. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.